good. Good evening, folks. My name is Greg Young. I'm the chair of the Northborough Conservation Commission, and this is the meeting of April 15th. This open meeting of the Northborough Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. All members of the Northborough Conservation Commission are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows Northborough Conservation Commission to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded, so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Tom Beals. Muted, Tom.
Yes, here.
Dan Clark.
Here.
Justin Dufresne.
Here.
Diane Goldner.
Here.
Todd Helwig.
Here.
Kelly Marston.
Here.
Very good. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Mia McDonald.
Here.
Jim DiGiulio.
Here.
Very good, thank you. Some ground rules. The chair will invite each speaker or applicant on the agenda by name to make a presentation and speak to their application. Participants will provide their full name and hold until their name is called. Each speaker will be asked to mute their phone or computer when not speaking and to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate meeting minutes. Those responding will be asked to wait until the floor is yielded to them by the chair. Speakers who wish to respond to the comments of others do so through the chair, taking care to identify themselves. Each vote taken by the commission will be conducted by roll call vote. After members have spoken, we will afford public comment as follows. By phone, dial *9 to raise your hand and wait to be recognized by the chair. Please note that part of your phone number will be visible to those viewing the meeting. By Zoom, click raise hand on the bottom of your screen and wait to be recognized by the chair. The chair will ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify their names and addresses only. Once the chair has a list of all public commentators, the chair will call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. Diane Goldner.
You ready for me?
We're ready for you.
The meeting will include the following hearings pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, and the Northborough Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Request for determination of applicability at 220 Crawford Street, map 60, parcel 81, by Daniel Gillingham for proposed construction of a deck on a single-family house and associated site work. Request for determination of applicability at 5 Kimball Lane, map 92, parcel 24, by Michael Whelan for proposed construction of an addition with foundation to single-family home and associated site work. Notice of intent at 57 Fisher Street, map 42, parcel 40, by John Lean for proposed replacement of a septic system and associated site work. And last, notice of intent 333 Southwest Cutoff, map 109, parcels 11, by UMass Memorial Eye Center for proposed construction of 338 square foot, that's 15 by 23, exterior building addition to existing medical center to house elevator and stairwell and associated site work.
Very good. Thank you, Diane.
You're welcome.
Okay, March meeting minutes. I had a couple of corrections here, Mia, and they're minor, but on page 2 and twice on page 2 and once on page 4, we referred to the continuation as to the next public hearing of April 19th. So we should probably correct that and make it the 15th.
Okay.
And that's all I had.
You said it was twice on page 2. And
Yeah,
what was the
it's-
other page?
It's the one from 8595 West Main Street, which runs on the top of page 2. And then 0 Hudson Street, which is right after that one, on page 2. And then on page 4, it's the very end of 90 West Main, about halfway down.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions or comments on the meeting minutes? No?
No, they were good.
Diane, you're good?
Yep, yes.
Then can we have a motion?
Will we accept the minutes of the March 9th meeting? Am I correct?
15th.
March
March
15th meeting, as written, except with the 2 corrections of the dates that Greg mentioned.
Okay.
second,
Seconded by Tom Beals. Roll call vote. Kelly Marston,
Yes.
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Diane Goldner,
Yes,
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
yes,
Tom Beals,
yes,
and I will also vote yes. Okay. Public hearings. Notice of insignificant project changes, 2 of them, the Davis Street and the Lyman Street culvert replacements. Who do we have here? Anybody going to be brought in for this one, Mia?
I thought
So-
someone was going to be, go ahead, Jim, do you see anyone?
Sorry, yeah, no, I don't see Scott or Megan, but if anyone's in the audience, they can raise their hand and I can move them over.
Don't see anyone. I will reach out to them if you want to move on.
Yep, I do. Okay. Let's go then to the RDA for 220 Crawford Street. Daniel Gillingham is the applicant. And is anybody else here for that group?
This is Dan Gillingham. I'm the owner of the house.
Very good, Dan, thank you. Anybody else joining you, or are you it?
With my wife.
Okay. You don't have no engineer coming or anything like that, right? You?
I do not know.
There you go. Okay, super. All right. Well, Mia and I visited the site. Mia, do you have anything you want to put up with this one, or Dan? Do you want to tell us what you want to do?
Sure. We've lived in the neighborhood for 28 years. It's scary. And we have a original deck that was here when we moved in, and it's in need of repair. It's in sad shape. So we want to add a deck to the backyard. And because our property borders up against the wetlands, I guess we have to get a determination from this department. And so, yeah, it's just adding a back deck.
Okay.
Replacing an existing deck, I guess.
And expanding it too. You're going to make
Yeah,
it look bigger.
correct.
Right. Mia, do we have any plans to put up, or
Sure, I can share.
if those for the commission? The house is located right at the corner of Cherry and Crawford.
Can you see the project site?
Yep.
And then that's the current layout. Chain link fence along the edge of the property with wetlands right beyond. And then these are the architectural drawings, Dan?
Yeah, correct. They're the preliminary ones. And we haven't arranged with a contractor yet. And we may have to downscale our sizing a little just based on the costs of lumber these days. So that is what the extreme was, and we're gonna put it out to bid that way. There you go. Yep.
Let's see.
Do we have any photos?
Yes.
So the land, the deck, when you're standing on the deck looking at the pool, the land slopes off to the right fairly significantly, going down to the chain link fences, and the wetlands lie beyond those fences.
That's for the front yard.
It's from the front.
So the deck's going to go off the side there.
There you go. That's
Yeah,
better.
there we go. Yep.
There's a better one in here.
There's the old deck. There's the old,
Hmm.
yep.
There you go. Yep.
So the deck's going to go off to the right toward the forsythia.
Mhm.
And that slope down is pretty steep with the chain link fence at the end. There we go.
Yep.
So we're going over existing lawn.
Correct. Yep.
And how far is the deck from the wetland boundary?
Mia, what was? It was
About 40 feet.
40? Yep.
Outside the no build. Mia, do we have a view down to the pool from the deck?
Maybe. Let me see. Let's see if I can find it. They're the ones we got just the other day.
Right.
No, I can't find the ones from the other day. I must have put them in the wrong place. Sorry about that. Because we took some on our walk. I must have saved them to the wrong folder. Let me double check one more time.
No luck?
No?
So any equipment is going to come in from the outside side of the house because you're going to change.
Yeah, that's right. We got a double doors stockade fence on the other side that gives full access, and there's no issue in coming around that way, and you
Okay.
can completely avoid the slope.
And any digging, you probably put some sort of support beams in, right? So you're going to put sonotubes in or something else?
Right, that's, we haven't contracted yet, so I don't know the specifics. But in talking to me, it sounds like would be restricted to either the sonotubes or the, what was the other?
Sonotubes are helical piles.
There you go. There you
I
go.
found the photos, Greg. They were in the 333 Southwest cutoff file. Get those. Oh, it's just the one. Yep. Just this one extra one. This is
That's it,
looking,
okay.
this is standing up the top. To our left is a pool, and then down there is the slope down to the wetlands.
Yep. Okay. Okay. All right. Questions from the commission?
None from me. It looks pretty straightforward. I assume we're just going to ask for some siltation fence just to have a small layer of protection.
Yeah, what Mia and I had spoken about is because the chain link fence is so secure, we can put the hay bales or whatever we need for control silt right up against the chain link fence, and they're not going to go anywhere.
We talked about straw bales or a wattle along that chain link fence.
Oh, okay.
And if he's just going to do sonotubes or helical piles, there really shouldn't be land disturbance.
Right.
And if the site does require grading, then they'll have to come back for an NOI.
Right.
Mhm. So I assume we're doing a negative determination with conditions?
Yes.
That would be the approach. Yep. Yep. Unless, and again, like Mia said, if something changes and there's going to be a lot of regrading, they have to come back with a,
Understood. Yep.
And the conditions I recommend is the deck stays out of the 35-foot, sonotubes or helical piles, and an erosion control barrier such as straw bales or wattles are placed along the chain link fence.
Okay. Sounds pretty straightforward.
Let me see if there's any questions from attendees. I don't see any hands up.
Move to
No.
close the hearing then?
Second.
We're looking for a negative determination, a motion for a negative determination.
You still need us to close the hearing though, don't you?
No, it's not a public hearing. Sorry.
It's under the agenda under public hearings.
Oh, it's a typo. I'm sorry.
You change the rules every time. All right, I wish you
I send these agendas because it's just me. So I send them to Greg and Kathy. I'm like, help me out here. I'm the only set of eyes.
no,
I'll send them to you now, Todd. You can
No,
review
Greg.
it for me.
Greg's in charge. It's his fault. All right, move to issue a negative determination of applicability for 220 Crawford Street, subject to the conditions noted.
Second,
Second by Tom Beals. Roll call vote. Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
yes,
Kelly Marston,
Yes.
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Todd Helwig.
We covered me already, but yes,
Sorry.
again.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals,
yes.
and I also will vote yes. Very good. You're all set, folks.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Stay in
you.
touch with me. Stay close.
Sounds good.
So Greg, I heard from Scott. They're not coming. I can present if you'd like. I'm familiar with it for the town culverts.
Well, it's also not a public hearing, is it?
No, it's just a notice of project change.
Fine. But me, I think you should be very impressed because you drilled into our heads for so many months. We had to close the hearings and we do it. And now we're told that we don't have to.
I was
Well, so-
actually really impressed with Todd on that one. I
Yeah.
thought he was doing it
I have to
good.
do a better job on the agenda. We'll get it.
Okay, so the culverts, Davis Street and Davis Ave and Lyman Street.
So can you see, this is Davis Ave. So the plans had said that the contractor shall field verify all utilities prior to construction. So they went out there to do that. And they had done their best to try to find the utilities. They're old utilities, and the original design showed them above. So both of these were open bottom. So these are the changes that the existing culvert is a 42-inch, not a 54. It was buried. It was too buried to determine. The 6-inch water main is located below. This is Davis Ave. Is located below the existing culvert and was found to be higher than shown. And the location of the 6-inch gas main was conserved just above the existing culvert. So based on this, it can't be constructed as it was approved in the order of conditions. So they're proposing to install a 48-inch diameter culvert in lieu of the previously approved 54-inch CMP. To thread the proposed 48-inch culvert between the existing utilities, the slope will be increased from 0.6% to 1.4%. The proposed inverts are shown on the figure, and it looks like it's going to hold all the same as before as the flow goes. So it was originally intended to be a much bigger one. Not much bigger, just slightly bigger. And I think this is the intent of the original item is to place an existing deteriorating culvert while increasing flow capacity. By installing this design, the intent is maintained and the impacts to existing utilities are minimized. So that's the first project change. Any questions?
So I mean, these are, we've already given them approved NOIs for these.
Yes.
Okay. So all of our requirements for control devices and so forth are in the NOI already in the order.
Yeah, if we have to change any conditions, which I don't recommend changing any conditions,
Right.
but if any conditions, then it would be considered significant and we would need them to amend.
Okay, good.
Okay.
No issues with Davis Ave.
So I would like a vote that you find it insignificant or significant, depending on what you think. I recommend it's insignificant.
So moved.
second,
Second.
Diane, roll call. Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
yes,
Kelly Marston,
Yes.
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals,
Yes,
and I will vote yes.
Okay, can you see Lyman Street now?
yes,
Okay, So the changes here where the location of the 4-inch gas main was confirmed above the existing culvert and the 12-inch water main was found to be located below the existing culvert, conflicting with the original survey. The proposed 48-inch culvert with 24-inch embedment. Remember, this one was going to be embedded so that it was almost like an open bottom to create some natural substrate. It can't be constructed as approved without major impacts to the existing water and gas. They're proposing to install a 30-inch reinforced concrete pipe in lieu of the previously approved 48-inch with them. And they're not losing any diameter because the previous 48-inch was going to be embedded. So it'll still handle the flow, but we'll lose that natural bottom. The proposed alternative does not include embedment of the culvert due to the location of the water main. The proposed inverts of the 30-inch culvert are shown in the attached figure, and they updated the HydroCAD, and it will still provide the needed flow for the 100-year storm. So this is it here. Again, I recommend this one. It's insignificant as well.
Questions or concerns? Can we need a motion?
Move that there's no significant change.
Second,
Seconded by Tom Beals. Roll call. Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Goldner,
yes,
Kelly Marston,
yes,
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals.
yes.
I also will vote yes.
Thank you.
Okay, done. All right. See, 5 Kimball has, they postponed their request. We'll move on from that.
We do need a vote to postpone because we advertised it.
Oh, okay.
Move to postpone.
Is there a
Second.
second? Seconded by Justin. A vote to postpone. Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane,
yes,
Kelly Marston,
yes,
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals,
Yes,
and I will vote yes. Postponed. "57 Fisher Street, Mia. We don't have a DEP number in this one yet, right? You're muted.
I think we do have a presenter.
No, we have no,
No DP file number. Let me
okay.
see.
So it has been reviewed by DEP yet, obviously. All right. Let's see who we have here.
Oh, I'm Vito Clona.
Vito's there. Hi, Vito.
Yeah. Hey.
All right. You want to tell us about what's going on there?
Sure. Okay. Are we all set to go? Sorry, I just turned it on. Okay. So 57 Fisher Road, they have a failed septic system. So they're looking to replace that system. I can share my screen quick here. Okay. So this is the plan. 57 Fisher Road is Church Street. Come down Crawford and turn onto Fisher, and it's right in here. There's a stream across the street, Cold Harbor Brook. That's across the street right there, and that 200-foot riverfront area extends well up into the site. And so we did look at, moving the system towards the rear of the yard, but there's 2 wells, one on site and then one on the abutter site over here. So that kind of pins us in with the 100-foot offsets from the wells. It doesn't really give us too much space to work with. So this is kind of the only area left on site to locate that replacement septic system. And it's actually in the same spot as the existing system now. So just kind of remove that old one, replace it with a new one, with just, all new components. And we have the erosion barrier around the edge of the limit of work. And then in the end, we're set about 108 feet to the end of the river. So we're outside the 100-foot buffer, but still within that outer, 100 to 200-foot riverfront area. I think that's, basically it. It's I think pretty straightforward from our end anyway.
Peter, where's the new tank gonna go?
It's right in here. It's essentially where the old one was. We're kind of just, pulling the old one or backfilling the old one and then putting a new one in.
Questions from the commission? Me, a question on what we can do without getting a DEP file number or review by DEP.
You can, but I don't recommend ever closing without a DP file number.
Yep.
Right, so that we will have to continue this
Yep.
until the next meeting.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, hopefully that would just be a open and close as long as we get everything back from the all set.
I mean, it's failed? Is it still functional to a certain extent, or?
It is. He said, I talked to him today. He said it was still functional enough, where it's not breaking out on the ground surface or anything like that. He'd like to get it done as soon as possible, but it isn't emergency or anything like that where we have to do something drastic.
Yeah, because like most of the times, Vito, you can correct me, but if it starts to really fail, they can pump the tank and that'll give them another week or two. But if it really like drastically fails and we have sewage coming out in the street, we can proceed under emergency certification with the plans as shown until we can issue the order next month.
Yeah, that's right.
We're going to continue this to we'll just say the May meeting.
We should grab public comment if possible.
Let's see if we have any public comment. Anybody? I'm looking for I don't see any raised hands. Nope. Going once, twice. Done. All right, need a motion.
Motion to move to May.
Second,
Second by Tom Beals. Roll call vote. Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
yes,
Kelly Morrison,
yes,
Sam Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals,
yes.
and I vote yes. Continued.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vito. 333 Southwest Cutoff. This is the UMass Memorial Eye Center outside the baseball field complex. We're still missing a file number, Mia, right?
That's right.
So it's not been reviewed yet. Okay. And I believe we have Brian Waterman here for this.
Yes.
And he's here. Okay.
I am here.
Hello,
How's
Brian.
everyone? How you doing?
Ed. All right. Tell us what you have going on.
All right. So as you just noted, we do not have the DEP file number yet, but this is an addition off the northwest end of the existing UMass Eye Center at 333 Southwest Cutoff. So this is essentially located across from the drive to the Northborough Crossing and at the New England baseball fields. So I think everyone's probably familiar with the site.
Do you want me to share my screen with the plan?
Sure, if you would. Well, this is kind of the overall plan. So it's the two-story office there, and as Mia's circling, we're proposing a essentially 15 by 23 foot addition off the end of the building. This is to house an elevator and stairwell to service the UMass building. The office, medical office is on the upper floor of this building, and then the New England baseball had space in the bottom. But UMass is taking over some of that space. Their services have expanded, and it needs to be serviced by an elevator. And the only place to put it is in this location. So the idea would be to, Mia, do you have the new plan I sent you this morning?
Oh, was that this morning?
The one that we adjusted the one wetland flag there and the setback?
Let me grab that. Can you see it? Nope, that's not it.
That was our site walk.
Yeah. No, I have,
All right. well,
oh,
we-
there it is. No, I do have it. It was with the
You have it.
estimates. Yep. Here it is.
Excellent. So the idea is to come in off the existing paved driveway to the ball fields, path over the concrete pad there. We'd cut down about 2 feet on the hillside just to make a leveling area for the 10-foot wide gravel access path. So that would allow the machine to get in there, dig the hole for the wall and the foundation, and then back out from that area. The heavy dark line, dash line you see there is proposed straw wattle and entrenched silt fence. So it'd be a flat area. Again, the addition is 14.7 by 23. It's about 338 square feet. And it would go up the whole 2-story side of the building so that there's access for the elevator to get people that, you know, may need the assistance up and down between the 2 floors. We walked the site, Mia and Greg and I, yesterday. We adjusted one flag, the flag 1015. So the closest building corner was 60 feet in the original plan. After I looked at the wetland yesterday, we had reflagged it. I adjusted that one flag. So it moved 9 feet. So now we're 51 feet from that corner. You can see we're outside the 25 and 35 no build. So this was a project that was permitted back in 2000, anywhere from 10 to 13 for the ball fields, and then the UMass building that you see there. So the roof, the minimal roof that's on this, which is 338 square feet, will be directed into the roof drains of the existing building, which go to the large subsurface infiltration system for the project. So the roof area is de minimis essentially to the system. We submitted the updated stormwater report. So the roof drains will just tie into the drainage system that's at the roof for 333 and then be piped out to the large infiltration system, which is located to the south or the north. There's two systems that support this development. So
Pretty steep
and then
off there too, right, Brian?
what's that?
We're pretty steep off that side.
Yeah, it drops off quick. As you can see, each contour line there is a 2 foot. So it drops about 8 or 10 feet. So we'll just create that, cut to about 2 feet where you see the spot grades there from 347 along the edge of the building down to 345. It'll be a 10-foot wide gravel just to get the machine in there, and then they can back out. And then the existing grass that remains on the side slope there below the erosion control, that's going to stay. And then anything that's disturbed above it will be reseeded. So,
And Brian, how far down are they digging? How deep?
I believe it's 4 feet, but is Greg O'Connor on with us, the architect? Should be Greg O'Connor Architects.
Yep, I just promoted him over to panelist. He should be with you shortly.
Thank you.
Yes, Greg O'Connor here.
Hi, Greg. This is Brian. They had a question on how deep we need to dig, and I was recalling that it was 4 feet for the.
Yes, 4 foot.
Yeah. Okay. Mia, do you have some photos?
Sure. Can you see it?
Mhm.
This is the wetland from the parking lot in front.
Yeah, that's up on top of the retaining wall.
And this is the corner of the building from the front. Then this is the slope.
So you're talking roughly where those windows are going up.
So as you saw that, wow, action photo.
You're there for scale. That's an action photo.
I don't provide much scale.
And that's the wetland
The
below.
wetland down, yeah, and you can see a couple of the blue flags there. The wetland actually is above what you would see, the herbaceous breakout there. But you can see an old silt fence that was remaining from the historic project, the black line down there. So we discussed, you know, the new silt fence comes up quite a bit from that. It's halfway up on the slope. So that'll either can be taken out when they put the new one in, or wait till the project's done and take them both out when things are stabilized. So you can see they cut that down and push the grade over, level that out for that 10-foot wide access path that comes in across the dumpster pad that's in the background there, the concrete dumpster pad. And it come out to, it's 1.5 feet from the end of the building, which is where it starts, and then it goes 23 feet along the face of the building. And so the erosion, the proposed erosion control barrier would be down about halfway down that slope. So, excuse me.
So Brian, that's gonna have to be really dug in and secured, that control barrier.
Yeah, it'll be entrenched and staked in. It's a 12-inch core log and staked and entrenched silt fence. And if we you know need to double it up, we can. There's not, once we cut the pad, the access pad, there's not a lot of erosion potential really, because there's still the grass between it and then between the face of it and the edge of the gravel. But you know, once we cut it in, if you want to take a look at it and we think we should do something additional, we can certainly add something more. But between putting the gravel on the cut 10-foot wide pad and the erosion control barrier with the existing grass, it should provide a pretty good you know, erosion barrier and not lend itself to a lot of erosion potential. But we can certainly look at it once we get it cut in, if you guys want to look at it and see if you think we should add something.
Any questions from the commission?
I had a quick question. What prevents you from using the other side of the building or the back of the building?
I'll defer that to Greg.
Yeah, the decision to put this at that end is we are only renting that end of the building for UMass. The baseball facility will remain on the other end of the building. So UMass's space doesn't go all the way to the opposite side of the building.
So, okay, so the baseball owns the building?
The baseball folks are going to still have half of that lower level.
You seem puzzled still.
Well, I guess I don't, so they don't want the elevator. So I guess I'm.
The elevator is solely for UMass. It's not a common facility for the building.
I see. Okay.
You good for now, Dan?
Yeah.
Any more questions from the commission? Now,
And
me and
Brian,
this-
that access from the dumpster pad, that's just temporary then? So at the end of it, they'll just pull all that out and reseed it? Is that the plan for that?
I believe that is the case, yes.
Okay.
It's just to get access to it. And then once this thing's enclosed, it'll be an enclosed structure and just grass the way it is from the side of the building that you see now, essentially. So it's just if you will, a wart on the outside of the building, I guess.
Will there be, not a gate, but will there be any deterrent from the baseball players from using that path to walk around the building? I noticed like cups and stuff were already there.
Yeah, I mean, they really can't go around the building because there's a 20-foot high wall on that other retaining wall. If you saw cups, it's probably blown from that dumpster.
So they can't get to there from the baseball fields? I've never been around the backside.
No, what they come from the can you go to the full-size plan, please, Mia? Might be easier to describe it in there. Right, so yeah, the parking for the baseball field is in that southern lot. And then their access doors are the two right-hand corner there. And then they walk down the paved Bitconk Drive to the lower ball field, or they just access into the two upper fields straight through there. So there's really nothing, I mean, I guess if they wanted to take a walk over the grass or past the dumpster, they could, but as you can see, it drops off. And then if you go around there, it's down into the wetland, or you're at the base of the 20-foot wall. So if there's any trash, it's probably just when someone threw it in the dumpster or missed the dumpster, would be my guess. But the baseball players can go into the workout rooms and things at the bottom of the building through that back access, or they walk out directly onto the fields, or down that the Bitconk Drive that goes to the rear field. Everything else towards the front is for UMass.
Could I recommend an enclosure for the dumpster to prevent that trash from migrating?
Can you go back to the photos? I didn't remember a lot of trash, but.
There's not a lot. I just noticed some, and I know, you know.
We had the other day, the majority of trash was by far disposed face masks.
Yeah.
Yeah, in front, yeah.
Front.
Fortunately,
but
I just know kids, if you give them a place to hide and hang out, they're gonna hide and hang out.
yeah, well, these kids are under the gun. That's high-end baseball, so they're when they're there, they're being put through their paces. Trust me. But yeah, I do see some debris, but that could have been from old construction stuff. But
That's like,
things already cover on the dumpster too.
so, I mean, it looks pretty clean around it for the most part. There's a few old odds that could have been old construction, cups or something, but.
the majority of the trash was up here along this chain link fence, and it was all face masks and gloves.
Right, it's generally contained up there, one, because of the fence, it can't blow over, and two, you do have a curb, so that's really house cleaning on them when they probably in the spring to clean that up, or maybe eventually we'll get away from having face masks on all the time.
Are you good? Any questions? Any follow-ups? Okay. Mia, there's a question here about the stormwater system has not been maintained. We talked a little bit about that. Why don't you give us a brief?
Yeah, I was looking in the file. I didn't find any reports for the maintenance of the stormwater system or a statement that the system had been constructed and was functioning as designed. So I asked Brian, and today the owner has contracted someone to do the initial cleaning, and they provided an estimate for annual cleaning, which would be nice if they provided the annual cleaning. And I think we've been talking about this in the coming months. That the town is getting pressure from EPA starting. The committee is going to the Conservation Commission is going to become the Stormwater Authority, and so we have the pressure's coming in from federal government on us that we have to start requiring the maintenance of these systems. So it was never maintained. We don't have a DEP file number, and that's relevant because this could give us some time to get that initial cleaning done and really look at the inspection maintenance reports, make sure it's functioning as designed.
Yeah, Mia, I believe their initial visit is going to be on the 26th.
That's great.
Yeah, we'd like to know that it's functional before you add more volume to it.
I mean, they haven't had any flooding issues, and it is extensive. The system is all under the baseball field. So I think
There's one in the front parking lot too.
Mhm.
In
So-
front of UMass, there's two, but it was over designed. It's a huge system. There were really good soils there. You know, the majority of the project is finished in what, 2015. So I guess it's been 6 years, but and I think the baseball parking lot, you know, since the fields aren't used in the winter, there's probably not a lot of plowing or sanding or anything going on there. It'd be more in the front of UMass. But the contract that was signed and brought these guys on board is to clean everything front and back. And so it's an extensive program. And as Mia pointed out, they supplied a contract that was signed to do the immediate cleaning and then also long term. So they're on board and you know, moving forward, as long as there's nothing found out of place, which I don't expect, they should be in good shape to get you guys the reports and have someone on board that is doing the maintenance annually.
when I reviewed that filing, the previous filing, I found a certificate of compliance in there and then just moved on. It turns out that's a partial. So it would be nice if we could get a complete certificate of compliance for the site too, so we don't have the 2 open orders.
Yeah, I looked into that because I was under the impression it was a full as well, but it looks like there was all the systems and the fields and the building were done, but there was where the old driving range building was, there were some dirt mounds and there were a couple of items there, some paving to be done. So that's why they said hold off. And I think that stuff's complete now, but I will look into that. And if it is, we'll just file for the final COC.
I don't see any public comment. Looking for hands up or phones. No.
I'm sorry, Brian, you said that they do have a contractor then that's on board to clean the stormwater system. Is that what you were mentioning?
Yes, yeah, we
Okay.
sent, I forwarded the contract information that was signed by the property owner. He brought them on board, so I sent
Okay.
It's New England Stormwater Management, I believe.
Okay.
So they're gonna do, Mia has the list, I don't have it in front of me, but it's like 5 storm scepters, 10 catch basins, a bunch of other items, but they're all listed on there that they're gonna clean.
I think it's worthwhile. My daughter, they do a lot of soccer practice stuff here too. So she was actually there and they actually ran practices through the winter there too. So you'd be surprised that they
Oh, really?
actually plow the fields off. And so as the snow melted, there's all those little black pellets off the field. So you can see them kind of on the hillsides and stuff like that too. And all that stuff gets right into the stormwater system. So probably definitely worth a cleaning of it, kind of from what I know. I actually just dropped her up there tonight before the meeting. So she's out there in the rain tonight, but probably definitely worth a cleaning of the catch basins and the storm scepters and things like that, at least to get all that black pellet stuff out of them too.
Yeah, it was bad when they first put it down. Then it kind of finally seats itself, but I'm sure you still have some that gets kicked up.
Yeah.
The fields
That's
are pretty
good. That's good if they're getting it all clean before we close this thing out. That's nice.
Yep.
We're going to continue this to May. That's what it sounds like. There'll be some activity between now and then. Cleanup work, maybe a COC filing. Okay.
Right.
And we should get the DP followed by then. All right. We need a motion to continue. Do you want to close the hearing first, Todd? What do you think?
No,
No, okay, that was a test. I was testing you. Okay, so.
You're testing me. I was like, hold on, what are you doing?
All right, need a motion
Motion to move to May.
Second,
Second,
by, who was that? Was that Kelly?
yes.
Diane. Yes, okay. Roll call vote to move to May. Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Goldner,
yes,
Kelly Marston,
yes,
Ann Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals.
Yes.
I vote yes. Continued. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, guys.
All
Thank
right.
you.
161 Church is already continued to May. Um, 90 West Main Street is next on the list. And who do we have presenting for that? Scott Goddard.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you.
Good deal.
I have my daughter Sarah here with me too.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
She's learning. She's like a assistant member of the commission tonight.
There we go. A non-voting member of the
A
commission.
non-voting member.
It's okay. All right, 90 West Main Street. I think
90
we're all
West
pretty
Main
familiar.
Street. So Mia, you gonna share your screen or should I share my screen? What would be more appropriate?
It would be good for you to share yours so you can point at stuff with your cursor.
Okay, I will do that then. Let's see.
And me, we have a file number for this, correct?
Yes, we got DEP comments.
And comments, okay.
Yeah, just give me 1 second to pull up my proper screen here. Okay. There you go. All righty. So Scott Goddard, professional wetland scientist representing the applicants at 90 West Main Street. This letter here is a supplemental information that was submitted discussing the buffer zone enhancement and the removal of the Japanese knotweed that was requested. So Mitch from my office sent that into Mia.
Mhm.
Then we have the existing and proposed site plan. This is the update. So the only modification to the site plan since the last version that you all saw was showing the chain link fence here around the dumpster pad at the rear of the building. So that was the only remaining issues at play. There was some DEP comments that came in that I can address briefly. And then also, I think a question came up at the last meeting. What is the overall reduction in impervious surface within the riverfront area? So the numbers there are existing. There's 4,140 square feet of impervious surfaces, structures, and pavement in the riverfront area. And our proposed condition is 70 square feet. So virtually eliminating all impervious surfaces within the riverfront area on the site. Also, and the limits of all these activities are pulled much further back. So it's not just a reduction in area. The work we're doing is only at the furthest extent of the riverfront area, as opposed to that 4,000 and change is all much closer, of course, to the riverfront area. There was a question from Kimberly Roth at DEP about reviewing portions of the project under 1058-4. That is really not appropriate in this case. This is a redevelopment project. We're not considering the lawn as a degraded surface. It's part of a larger prior development of the site made up of both degraded and non-degraded previously developed surfaces. So there's really nothing on this site that warrants a 1058-4 type of analysis. Any alternatives that were presented would only be alternatives that would have greater impact to riverfront area. So it's sort of an unnecessary exercise in my opinion. I think this project overwhelmingly satisfies the redevelopment standards under 1058-5 for reduction in overall degraded surface in the riverfront area, restoration of existing degraded surfaces within riverfront area closer to the river, pulling the work further away from the river, enhancing the area closer to the river, adding additional mitigation measures such as full stormwater compliance where it doesn't currently allow for it, and the restoration of other degraded areas. Degraded is not the right term. Let me, because that's a specific regulatory term, but other, I don't know, minimized areas that are out there due to dense Japanese knotweed around some of the fringe BVW that we're proposing mitigation for. This coupled with the prior compliance that we were before the commission on to deal with the old order of conditions, and then doing a new and what has been a successful wetland replication area in the rear of this property, I think makes a project that can be very confidently voted on by the commission for a real model project for riverfront redevelopment in Northborough.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. So Mia, what is the issue that DEP says one thing on and Scott disagrees with?
I can read the comment. So they issued 2 comments. Can you hear me okay? The first is, what is the cumulative riverfront area that has been impacted from this project since 1996? And will the total riverfront area from all projects since 1996, including the current project, exceed 10% or 5,000 square feet? And Scott, you can confirm, but I believe those structures have been in place since the 80s.
Correct.
So just we can satisfy that verbally just by saying that we can confirm that this is disturbance pre-1996.
Yes.
The second comment, and I also wanted to say quickly that another thing the commission asked for was confirmation that entire back area would be naturalized, and we did receive that in writing. That was one of our previous comments.
Yes.
The second DEP comment is the department does not consider lawn to be degraded under 310 CMR 10.585. That's redevelopment standards. Please quantify impacts to riverfront area as new development and redevelopment separately. As lawn is not considered degraded riverfront area, please demonstrate how the work in areas of new development in riverfront area on this project complies with 10.584. So 10.504 D1A is new development. So 10.584 is new development. 10.585 is redevelopment. So portions of this project are under redevelopment and portions are under new development. And it's required in the regs that is quantified and put in writing in the file that we've met that requirement. We're seeing this more and more, especially in Northborough, where we have a lot of redevelopment sites. We have one later on the agenda tonight. So we really want to quantify those separately because they have different performance standards. I do believe that they all have been met and that it is an overall improvement, but we do need this for the file.
So I'd like to comment on that, Mia. So this is an issue I see coming up more and more. I'm dealing with it right now in Southborough as well. So this is an issue that I've seen unique to certain employees of DEP. Kimberly Roth is one of them that's taken this position. I've worked on literally hundreds of projects that have done with riverfront redevelopment standards, and this approach is not something that's universally applied to by DEP at all. I don't think it's appropriate application of the laws, because what I see happen in other towns is people try to segment redevelopment and new development in some cases, and often it ends up in an abuse of authority where the applicants tend to try to, not of the authority, of the applicants who go for 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, and chip away at riverfront areas that are and then you get overdevelopment of riverfront area. So in practice, it's very hard, and I don't think the regulations support this idea of segmentation. And under 1058, and by the way, I've successfully, had this discussion with many people, even at DEP. Kimberly Roth just does not happen to be one of them. But under 1058.5, which is the redevelopment standards. So the first standard there is section A, and section A has 2 sentences to it of the A through G standards. It says, at a minimum, proposed work shall result in an improvement over existing conditions of the capacity of the riverfront area to protect the interests, which we demonstrated in this particular case. The second sentence in that section A is, when a lot is previously developed, but no, now that doesn't talk about degraded, okay, that just says previously developed, but no portion of the riverfront area is degraded, then the river requirements of 1058-4 shall be met. So the regulations very specifically in redevelopment tell you when to go to section 4. And that's when no portion, it says no portion, that's the rule of the riverfront area is degraded. So if you have no portion degraded, it could be lawn, it could be landscaping, it could be naturalized, no portion, then you go to 4. But when you have portions of it, just portions of it that are degraded, you will review the project under redevelopment. And if you meet the standards of improving the site over existing conditions, you've satisfied this. The only time you wouldn't do that is if the existing degraded surfaces are less than what's allowed in new development, the 10% or 5,000 square feet. Then of course you'd go for new development standards, because the new development standards allow you to do more. They allow you to alter areas that are naturalized up to 10,000 square feet or 5%. So if you want to get new areas developed and impacted beyond what's currently there, and you can't use the redevelopment standards to mitigate, then you have to go for new development standards. So I think you get better protection of riverfront areas when you apply 1058-5, because you must have a net benefit to riverfront area. Regardless, all this is a sort of technical nuance of regulatory, debates that can take place at DEP and adjudicatory hearings and all that fun stuff. I think the regulations are crystal clear, and I think the rivers are best protected when redevelopment standards apply and not bisecting them inappropriately. Regardless of that, though, in this particular case, the standards are overwhelmingly satisfied for redevelopment. And we went through each individual items, A through G, all of them are satisfied. The project results in a net benefit to the riverfront area in each and every capacity, and I think it's easily satisfied.
Commission have any questions? I'd like to say that I agree that the site is an overall improvement. I feel the site has met all the standards, but I do disagree that I don't think it's piecemealing to break out redevelopment and new development. I think when we get a portion of a site that's degraded, it does not trigger the whole site. And I know you have read that, that second line there, when a lot is previously developed and no portion of the riverfront area is degraded, the requirements of 4 shall be met. But previously in the definition of redevelopment means replacement, rehabilitation, or expansion of existing structures, improvement of existing roads, or reuse of degraded or previously developed areas. And so this is, it's really just specific to previous development. And so just what Kim says in her comment, that lawn does not fall under redevelopment. Lawn is not degraded. It is poor quality. Same thing goes with invasive species. And so I really feel like we are stuck in this technicality because we do have a site with an overall improvement, but we do have to follow our regs and require this breakdown.
And Mia, one of the things to point out in the section you just read, so the regulations do make a distinction between degraded and previously developed, right? So previously developed has 2 categories underneath it: the degraded type of previously developed and the non-degraded type of previously developed. So for example, you can have lawn and landscaping that is part of a development area, but that's just not degraded. But if you read the section, it said, the one you just read, that sentence, it said redevelopment is degraded or previously developed. So it includes both categories of redeveloping a site. So for example, if you have a parking lot or something like this, and you have a landscape island in the middle of it, right? We wouldn't apply new development standards to a landscape island or something like that, right? Or the fringe grasses around the edges or something like this, right? So redevelopment is looking at the site as an entirety, and then you look at those standards of improving degraded surfaces. Each of those standards underneath redevelopment, furthermore, even qualifies under each one that you can even do more degraded surfaces or more previously developed impact with mitigation under sections F and G. So,
and I agree, this is a regulatory discussion. I think Scott is making a good point for his argument. Kim and I feel the other way, the DEP reviewer and I feel the other way, but I do feel this site meets both. I feel like it would meet the requirements that Kim and I are asking for, and it would meet the requirements that you're asking for. We're just looking for that breakdown for the file, because I just don't want this commission setting the precedent that they're going to be breaking it out piecemeal and allowing redevelopment standards on areas that should be considered new development. So it's really just a table. It's just a table.
So in this case, Mia, what work are we doing in areas that are new development? We're literally taking lawn and turning it into naturally vegetated area. and we're
Exactly, it's an improvement. So the breakout would show a benefit.
Well, no question, and that's
Exactly. So we're just looking for that breakout in writing so that the commission can say that the standards that Kim and I think apply have been met.
Yeah, it would be, I mean, perhaps you could show me a table on how you'd like to see that broken out, because to me, it seems intuitive for the purposes of redeveloping a site. When you're removing a building and putting naturalized landscape under it, that it's not a 1058-4 analysis of new impact. The whole purpose of no adverse impact under 1058-4 is to show that the degree of change made to a new development site is small enough that it can be absorbed for the site to not have an overall degradation to the riverfront area, be it 5,000 square feet, 10%, et cetera. So that's presumed to have no adverse impact. We're never going to have a situation where we have an adverse impact where we're resulting in a net improvement to the site. No adverse impact is only to minimize our degradation of a riverfront area, not necessarily an enhancement of a riverfront area. I think we can argue pretty easily that this site is just an overwhelming improvement.
This is an enhancement. We agree on that.
For sure.
So the 2 points, I did bring up before, I don't want the commission to set the precedent that they accept what your regulatory standpoint, because Kim and I support the other. But the other thing is, I don't want this order to be open to appeal. If we do not satisfy this requirement, it's been put in writing by DEP that this is required. DEP reviewer and I feel that it's required. If it's not in the file, that could open this order to appeal. And actually, I shouldn't express my opinion. Well, it's objective. This is an enhancement. What we're getting is better than what's out there as far as the values of the Wetlands Protection Act. And I wouldn't want to lose that value enhancement because of a culture in town. I don't know how else to say it.
Well, Mia, what we're looking at here is we have a difference of opinion between you and DEP and Scott Goddard. Are we looking for basically just a document?
Yep, just something for the file that says we can check this box.
Scott, any impact to the project itself by producing this document? I mean, in terms of what you're doing, or?
No, look, I have a fundamental, disagreement here. I think that the position that, Mia and Kimberly are taking are not supported by the regs, and ultimately will result in more impacts to rivers in the town of Northborough if this position is taken. I don't think it's supported at all. And I'd be happy to meet with Mia and talk through this, not on a project specific basis, but just from a more kind of academic kind of exercise. I think it might be, kind of interesting to go through, Mia, because I think, no, seriously, this is important. But I can give you some stuff to check boxes, but in the same token, I'm not interested in really setting precedent of what I believe to be an incorrect interpretation. I'm more or less just at that point jumping through hoops to satisfy something that I think is inappropriate. But if that's what it takes, to advance this for the benefit of my client, I can accommodate that request. I don't think that the commission ought to require that additional information be put into the record, however.
And in the end, it's their decision.
Interesting.
So I'll leave it to the commission. If you're asking me to postpone this meeting and provide an additional table, then I will do that. I would not want you to close and vote on it if that would result in the denial of this application, of course. If you think the information we have submitted to you is sufficient, demonstrating a net benefit to this river, then the commission could, in good conscience, I believe, close the meeting and vote to approve the project. But I will leave that to your discretion, of course.
There's a
Let's
third
see what the
option.
commission, let's see what the other commissioners have for questions and comments here.
Okay.
Floor is open.
I just, my personal viewpoint right now is that if we have feedback from DEP, that we should meet the requirement regardless of whether, you know, there's an academic debate as to, you know, whether grass counts or doesn't count. I think let's just, you know, put the graph together and get the project closed. Maybe we can revisit this as a commission on a separate topic at a later date.
And to add to that, I'm not arguing that grass should be treated as a degraded surface. Absolutely not. In fact, there are some DEP people that will actually take that position. I know specific ones that would, not in the central region, but in other regions that do take that position. I know plenty of consultants that push for that as well. Lawn should not be treated as a degraded surface. It's simply part of a prior development activity, that's all.
That depends.
Comments?
I think everybody's in agreement that it's an improvement to the site and it accomplishes what everybody wants to get done. So I think we just need to provide whatever paperwork it needs to get it done.
I am, I think, Tom. And Scott, if you and me want to have a separate session talking about in more depth, a technical review session, then bring summary to us at some point in time, that'd be fine too. It's
No,
a
I
separate
think that would be fine. What I'll do is I'll continue this meeting, unless Mia said there was maybe a third option. I don't know if that was.
Yeah, the third option that I came up with, and I want to make sure I'm following all the rules, is we do have a table on page 2 of the initial NOI submittal, because so we can't close the hearing and then receive additional information. But as we just did, you know, Scott told us, and I noted here in my notes that, you know, Greg had asked for the overall reduction in impervious, and he verbalized at the meeting 4140 square feet down to 70. We could have that same discussion here and then put it in table form so that no new information is being presented if we wanted to close tonight. We do have a table 1 of existing conditions on page 2 of the NOI, where it cites that the lawn is 4,890 square feet, and we could break that out and then put it in table form later. It's up to you, or we could come back next month with the table.
Does that satisfy, this seems like a clerical issue. Does that satisfy the table requirements for DEP?
Yeah, it just has to be, so it says quantify impacts to the riverfront area as new development and redevelopment separately. So we would just say how many square feet of redevelopment, how many square feet of new development, and make sure we're in compliance with, so we would break out the amount of lawn that we're considering new development and make sure it satisfies 10.584 D1A, which it does.
If we already have the information, we just need to restate it or reorganize it, then I say we do that and close it and move on.
I like that approach.
Now, just from looking at the plan, does it seem like all 4890 is, I mean, that's new development, and it's going to, we should look at what it, let's look at existing versus proposed. We have to quantify how much of that has been put into development or left, because I think most of the lawn, well, no, a part of the lawn, part of the existing lawn is now going to be BLSF, compensatory storage naturalized area. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Is there any way to quantify the amount of that? Or is that something you'll have to come back with?
So, I mean, we could potentially, there seems to be general agreement that the project is approvable, but there's some numbers that you need for your tables and the order of conditions. If the commission would entertain it, we could close the meeting and vote on it, and I can just get not as new information, but I could assist, you know, giving Mia any numbers that she needs for her tables as she's filling out the order of conditions.
I don't think there's much opposition. I mean, I think the commission, for the most part, feels that it is an overall improvement to the area.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that was clear last month, Greg, when we looked at it. I think we all kind of felt that way. So if there's just a table that's needed, I mean, maybe we can just close and then, pending the submission of a table, that satisfies Mia and, kind of move on from there.
Don't say satisfies Mia.
Yeah, well, I
It
guess.
satisfy the DEP comment.
Yes, that's exactly. Yeah, I mean,
As
satisfies
stated
that,
here.
and I think that I agree. It's more of a clerical thing at this point. We certainly don't want to set precedent as a commission that, other projects that come before us that, may be, not providing the same benefit as this one, have issues. So, I mean, I think that's a great point. If we can just get that in, I mean, I don't really see any reason why we would belabor this and kind of pull it out to another meeting. I think it's worth closing pending that condition.
That sounds good.
I'd like the table before we issue it, just to be safe. Just make
That's-
sure we have all the information.
For sure.
Okay. So it's a table that satisfies comment 2 from the DP prior to issuance.
You know what's being looked for, right?
I understand what she needs.
Yep.
Sarah, on the other hand, is a little confused as to what she's asking for.
True. Well, Sarah's got a 25-page PowerPoint slide we're going to see momentarily on the technical aspects of this.
It sounds like a thesis you'd hear in school, the fundamentals of lawn application.
Okay, so is the plan here, see if I understand, the plan is to A, close the hearing, B, vote on the NOI, and if approved, condition the issuance of the NOI based on receipt and agreement of the table from Scott to Mia.
So moved. Can I do that?
Yeah, I
You got a
can't make
motion
a
to
motion
close the
on that.
hearing.
So that's-
First is
Come
closing
on.
the hearing.
Oh, is that the understanding, Mia? We're going to do it?
Yeah, we'll close the hearing
Okay.
as long as we're okay with that table coming in.
Make a
Just checking
motion that we
minutes.
close the hearing.
Second,
By Diane. To close the hearing, roll call vote. Todd,
Yes.
Diane,
yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Justin,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
I missed the motion. Who made the motion and seconded?
Motion made by Tom, second by Kelly, wasn't it?
Yes.
Or Diane?
No, Diane.
Diane seconded the
Oh,
motion.
okay.
I motion to agree with what you first said.
Okay, for special conditions, I have noted monitoring of the replication area. It's going to come over from the previous order.
Right.
Typical stormwater maintenance and O&M. And the O&M will be appended to the order. Anything else?
Receipt of that table.
Prior to issuance.
Is it just a table, Mia, or is it more than the table? I don't want to pigeonhole this if it's not correct.
The table is just quantifying impacts to the RFA as new development and redevelopment separately.
Okay. And that'll be received and agreed to by you prior to release, correct?
Prior to issuance.
Or issuance, is the proper term, I guess. Okay, so we're voting now on
Any
the,
permanent markers, trying to think of any other conditions. I think we have a pretty good drop off there, so I actually don't recommend permanent markers.
and that replication area is filling in fine. So,
Yeah, and that'll be way in the back, but then we're gonna have the naturalized BLSF area. How much is that? Oh, no, it's good. It's a nice steep drop off. They're not gonna get their mower down there.
all right, so Kelly, you made a motion. Kelly, you made a motion to
Uh-huh.
issue
Yes.
the north conditions. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Tom. Roll call vote. Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Goldner,
yes,
Kelly Marston,
yes,
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals,
yes.
and I will also vote yes.
So before we move on, I did put the request for certificate of compliance for this site on the agenda, just in case you wanted to address it tonight. Scott, did you want to do that tonight or at another meeting?
So, I mean, it makes sense to me, if I was to put myself in your shoes, to close with the issuance of the new order, at that time, close out the old order, just to get that out of everybody's life. And any of the remaining issues, which really at this point is only the monitoring, you've already voted into this new order. This new order then becomes the governing document for the site, and we don't have to deal with the history at any further point. And by the way, the replication area is doing very nicely. So if you haven't seen it and want to see it, you're welcome to go take a look at it.
And that's 247506.
Didn't we issue a partial already in this for the pipe?
Yep. All that was left remaining was the monitoring of the replication area, which has now been rolled over into this order.
Right, but you couldn't have issued the full at that point because it wasn't fully grown in, and there was no then mechanism by which to require ongoing monitoring. If this new document takes that role, we don't need the lingering old one anymore, as far as I can see.
Okay.
So would you like to request that they issue the full certificate of compliance for 247506?
Please.
So I make a motion, we issue a certificate of compliance for 90 West Main Street.
second,
Seconded by Kelly. Roll call on for Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Goldner,
yes,
Kelly Marston,
yes,
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals,
Yes,
and I vote yes on the certificate of compliance.
And we'll issue that when we issue we'll make it the same date.
Okay.
Have a good night, all. Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah,
Okay. All right, so we're good. So we issued the NOI. It's done. Okay. We good to move along, Mia?
Yes.
0 West Main Street. Continuation of the request to issue an amended order of conditions. Let's see who do we have from there. James is on. Anybody else? Okay. James, we can hear you but not see you, unless that's the way it's going to be.
Oh, sorry about that. Just a second.
Okay.
Sorry. Mr. Chairman, we were before you at your March 15th meeting, and the discussion ended with the commission, telling us that we needed to remove the proposed one-to-one slopes on the north and west sides of the driveway to Lot B and replace that with 2-to-1 slopes. And we submitted revised plans dated April 7th. With that change being made, we pulled that driveway very slightly back towards the house. We propose now a 3.5-foot exposed height Caniglaro block retaining wall, and we changed the slope below that to a 2-to-1 slope, keeping again the limit of work outside of your prescribed 25-foot no disturb zone. We also just made the necessary changes on the detail sheet to the construction sequence language and to the detail of slope treatment. We had previously had a detail for slope treatment of 3-to-1 as much as 1-to-1 slopes. We changed that to list 3-to-1 to as much as 2-to-1 slopes. But we still call for the same erosion control blanket, the SC 150BN, which is actually rated for use as steep as 1-to-1 slopes. But again, now it would be a 2-to-1. There are no other changes to the plan, and just and in light of all the discussion about riverfront area, I just want to quickly mention that the riverfront area on this land is actually way back behind the proposed work. It's actually because the wetland is so deep in this area. It's actually immediately to the west of and straddles the wetland boundary on this property. You can see that on the grading plan. Those are the only.
I'm sorry, James. Can we see the new plans? Can we put that up?
Oh, okay. Share screen if I may. So give me a second here. Oh. I'll get the sheet. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit puzzled by the share screen.
Hey, Share, I'm ready to go if you want.
Okay, why don't you do it, Mia, if you're.
Sure. Can you see it?
Yep.
This is the revised plan. I'm just gonna, can you see the original? Look at the slopes along the back.
You make it a little bit larger.
Sure.
Okay.
So this is the previous revision. This is the new revision.
Yep. And as you can see, as Mia switches back and forth, on the north and west sides of that driveway to serve Lot B, we had proposed a 1-to-1 slope. And in response to the commission's request at the last meeting on March 15th, we pulled that driveway very slightly towards the house on Lot B. And I propose now again a Canigliaro block retaining wall with 3.5 feet exposed height. And those couple small changes allowed us to change that proposed slope below the retaining wall to being a 2-to-1 grade.
And you still stayed outside the 25, is that correct?
Correct. We essentially did not move the erosion control barriers from the location previously shown. Maybe there's a symbol here or there that's moved a fraction of a foot, but it's in essentially the same location.
Can you shrink that down a little bit?
You want it smaller?
Get a better view of the whole site.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So the wall is in your 35, but it keeps everything out of the 25.
No. You see, the wall is just outside of the 35.
Oh, it is? Let me look closer.
Yes.
Oh, you're right. I'm looking at silt fence.
Yeah, in fact,
you're right.
I had sent an email to Mia to ask that specific question. I was 99-point-something% sure that the wall would count as a structure. But I asked and she quickly emailed me back, no, that would count. And so we kept that was actually why the limits of the driveway moved slightly. I had to move those limits of the driveway to be able to keep the wall, because we're showing the wall as a 2-foot thick structure, which is what those Canigliaro block walls are. They are 2-foot thick. It's typically a 2-foot thick block, also 2 feet high. In this case, you would just have the bottom 6 inches not exposed. So you'd have a two-layer thick wall to get the 3.5 feet exposed height.
Yeah, I know that Mia received quite a few phone calls from the public as you started to do some work on the site.
Yep.
I believe we had an issue with the motion control devices, but they've been positioned correctly since then. True.
What Mia sent us is a message noting that in 2 areas in close to flag numbers 7 and 8, and close to flag numbers 23 and 4, that where S&M Farms had put in the barrier, they had just done a straight line and they got within closer than is shown on this plan in those locations. And there's no work going on. As soon as an order is hopefully issued and work is allowed to proceed, we will move the barrier. We will contact Mia for her to confirm that it is in the correct location in those couple of spots. and then we would proceed with work from there.
So just to be clear, those are the only spots I measured. I only measured the closest spots. I didn't measure every flag. So we do need to have the whole line in the right place. There could be more wrong. I don't know.
Fair enough.
I mean, you'll do an ECB, you'll do a
Find out what's in there. is gonna-
inspection anyway, so.
Yeah, I generally just measure off the closest points to make sure they're staying out of that 25.
And we're still, gentlemen, we're still talking to, I believe, are these raised ranches?
Yes,
Okay, and they're residential houses, correct?
correct.
All right, well, that wall looks better, certainly. Commissioners, any questions or comments? And why is Kelly Marston here twice?
I think that's a friend of mine. I was telling them about all the fun things that were going on in town. And so they like to tune in and see what I do in my spare time.
She's stuffing the ballot box.
Okay.
I guess my only just quick question, I noticed a lot of the equipment seems to be coming in right now, at least for the clearing and everything off that neighboring lot. Will that continue for the construction, or will it actually be the location that you have the proposed kind of site entrance map or mat, sorry, right off of Route 20? Is that really where most of the equipment, or will they still continue to kind of come off that abutting lot there to the left?
They will come in where the construction entrance mat is proposed. We're just in the process of the Mass DOT review, so we could not cut through the
guardrail, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Is it just me? I'm sorry, I'm just noticing this now. I'm having trouble seeing the extent of this of this driveway. I can see the top driveway.
Sure.
I think they come, it's me too, Mia. I think it comes around the back.
Oh,
right?
it's all this. It's all of it.
It's-
Okay, I got it.
And unfortunately, it almost overlaps the 100-foot buffer zone line behind the house on Lot A, and that's so it's hard to see there. And then it's hard to see underneath we have the line for a temporary drain swale, which is right along the edge of the pavement, but further back. So there's two different lines that almost overlap it, sorry.
I just want to make sure I could see it. It's there.
I think everything that we asked for has been met.
You think any attendees, any public comments? I don't see any.
Kelly, we should ask your friend to rename if it really is someone different. Just because just for the public record, we do ask people to identify themselves. I know if your phone number.
I did. I just texted them and I forwarded them my link. So then I just went to the town's website because it is kind of hard to find if you don't know where to go. So I dug through and opened the agenda and copied and pasted that link for them. So
And they show up as your name as an attendee. Right?
yeah, probably. We attended a friend of ours' thesis dissertation today too. We do a lot of things in group.
And what better way to knock off the day than attend the Concom meeting? So there you go. Okay, no more questions from the commission? But I agree. I think that everything that we asked for has been done. I mean, that slope is gone from 1 to 1. And they've taken the approaches there. So good. Okay, so we'll motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second,
Seconded by Diane. Vote to close the hearing. Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
yes.
Kelly Marston,
Yep.
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals.
Yes.
I also vote yes.
Are there any conditions, new conditions you want
Okay.
on the order?
Do
Other
you have
than,
any, what do you have now, Mir? Anything good?
no? No, we don't need permanent markers because there's a drop off. Unless you want them.
Is that, Mia? Is that wetlands right down below the wall there? In both of those houses, or is that just dry and it gets wet further back?
It's wet in the back.
Way back?
Yeah, see the wetland flag, WFL?
No.
Oh, it's in the back, it's about 25 to 35 feet off.
From the wall?
No, there's a slope in the back. The wall is this, I think this is
Outside
situated
the
north,
35.
right? Yeah, so the north and west, just the northwest corner is wrapped in the wall. And then the rest of the back, I'd say 2/3 of the back portion. There is what, like a 5-foot slope there? 10, maybe 10 foot. Zoom in again.
Is there a chain link fence or a fence around the parking area at the back?
There are proposed guardrails behind both parking areas, the parking area on both lots.
So where we, because we're coming down off Route 20 to get into the parking area. Where is like snow removal going? Is it over?
It'll be off to the sides and beyond. It'll probably go into if you're behind Lot A, it'll be in the area between the 25 and the 35 zone.
Here.
Probably, and I
I'm
guess
not
probably
sure.
similarly on B.
So let's mark those out and then get it noted on the plan. That would be here for A. Is that right? And then B over to the side.
I guess it's a little hard to say. It depends a little bit on how the plow driver is doing his thing.
I just I just worry about sand and salt, mixed up. I know what my yard looks like in the spring, so I can only imagine what that's gonna look like in the spring.
Yeah, we don't want it pushed back here.
These are just houses, right?
Yes.
I don't think we've ever required anybody to show a snow storage area for a single family home before. And who knows what they're going to do if they use a snow blower. It's going to, I don't know that this is something we need to get into.
Agreed. I'd say the good thing with the guardrail right there, not only for a vehicle standpoint, but from a plow standpoint, you're not going to be lifting it up over the guardrail unless you're in there with a Bobcat or something like that you could get it over the top. So I think having the guardrail alone, should help kind of prevent, a little bit of that snow from getting back there. And I would guess if it is a plow, they're going to kind of push it almost to those sides that Mia identified, more so than the back. So I think we're probably good.
I would agree. That's good.
Any more questions or comments from the commission?
I would like to make a motion to amend the order of conditions for 0 West Main Street to allow the construction of the 2 houses as shown on the plans and subject to the conditions that we have discussed.
Second.
By Tom Beals. We'll roll call a vote. Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
Yes.
Kelly Marston,
Yep.
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Very good.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, folks.
Well, thanks for working with us and coming back with the request to changes. Appreciate that. And stay close to Mia.
That's good.
Well, that site, I'm going to get lots of calls. So
Yeah, we're gonna get lots of calls there on that one.
Understand.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right. moving right along here. We're moving right along, Mia.
We are cooking. Well, I just jinxed it. All right.
No, we jinxed it. I just jinxed it too, so. Okay, let's talk about 8595 West Main Street. And I believe that is Brian Waterman. And anybody else, Brian? Oh. Brian, anybody else coming on?
How you doing?
Hi, Mark Kablak is with us.
Yeah, Mark's here too.
Yes, I'm here as well, Brian. Thank you.
And Mark, what is your role?
He's the attorney for the applicants.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So where are we? We've been making some progress here. We get some questions around the stormwater system and a culvert replacement, I believe.
Yes, I know that it's actually been since December since we met on this the first time. So we've continued. Mainly the two largest questions. Well, there were three. I guess the primary ones was the permeability testing that was requested in each of the infiltrators, and also we did deep soil tests for composition. So those were completed and submitted to Fred and Mia. And I'll go on that a little more in a minute because that required some revisions to the design systems. The culvert, the existing historic stone culvert under Cherry Street, it was requested that we investigate that more and look into replacing that. And Fred's time has been limited due to a lot of other things in town. So we did speak to Fred the other day, and he spoke to Scott Charpentier this morning, and we submitted 2 or 3 options. One was with 3 12-inch culverts. One was with 2 18-inch culverts. But neither of those resulted in being able to meet cover going under Cherry Street, and you basically essentially drain the adjacent wetland. So we talked to Fred about going to steel culverts, and our engineer ran those, and Fred said, see if you can get a 25-year storm and 2 steel culverts. So we were able to design 2 steel 12-inch culverts with 2 feet of cover under Cherry Street, which meet the existing inverts out of the wetland and downstream. And Fred and Scott wrote back today. Mia was copied that they agree that is a sound design. The existing stone culvert under the Cherry Street is, from everyone's best guess, can convey about a 2-year storm right now, which is, it's still 3 3¼ inches of rain. It's a healthy storm, but the new design will double that at over 6 inches and pass a 25-year storm, and still have 2 feet of cover and be steel pipes, so there's no issue with loading if there's a fire truck or other heavy duty vehicle that goes over that. So both Fred and Scott submitted their approval of that this afternoon. One of the other things that was brought up between Scott and the fire department was the original design had the water line extension ending at a hydrant at the intersection of the Common Drive and West Street. They requested that the water main be extended and terminate with a hydrant at the Cherry Street intersection. So that has been done. That's on the plans as well. Let's see, the water line. one of the other main topics of discussion was an easement and covenant document that would be signed by homeowners, which would bind them or, you know, give the town some strength in an order that the stormwater systems on site would be maintained. Mr. Kablek drafted a covenant and easement document, and that was submitted to the town planner and Fred and Mia, and that was sent subsequently to town council for review. He had minor comments, and we addressed those. So we have a document that was reviewed by town council in the town that would just need to be signed. That could be recorded with the order of conditions, which is the document that was requested during the December hearing. So that's been ironed out, and I think that's in good shape. Let's see, Cherry Street. So getting back to the permeability testing and the deep holes testing we did, we had our soil evaluator, Jerry Buznowski, do deep soil tests to identify soil composition, whether, you know, sand, gravel, whatever is out there, estimated seasonal high groundwater. And then we also contracted with Yankee Engineering, who performed permeability tests in all the infiltration systems. And it turns out the permeability rate was greater than what was originally anticipated. So that alone made somewhat of a change to the system. Locations didn't really change, but some of the components within it changed a little bit, and some of the size of the components. Subsequent to that, over the last couple months, one of the abutters had hired an outside engineer to review the plans, and they had comments on the some of the infiltration systems separation to groundwater, which DEP requires 2 feet minimum separation to groundwater. And Fred had asked that we, even though this is an outside, you know, an abutter's engineer, he asked us to review that letter and make, you know, comments or changes, you know, if we felt applicable. So we had made some changes, submitted another set, which was again reviewed, again only by the abutters engineer, not Fred. And during that time, the plan set that was submitted to Mia, the current one, one of the comments was with the slopes here, you know, do we know if groundwater is sloping, you know, down that slope that's in the hill, or is it flat? How is the groundwater going? So what our engineer did on the last letter from the abutters engineer specifically identified infiltrator 104, which is at the southeast corner at the bend, and 105, which is at station, looks like about station 7, which is the southerly corner. So our engineer was able to shift some of the infiltration units so that they are all now at the same elevation. So now let's see, on infiltration 104, we have 2.1 feet of separation or greater. And on 105, we have 2.3 feet or greater over the entire system. So we've addressed, you know, the comments that from the abutters engineer, and which we submitted back to Fred and Mia. I believe you two had a discussion just to confirm our estimated groundwater, and we're in agreement. So Fred said he was going to try to get his comment letter tonight. I did not receive that before tonight, but his two main things were the addressing those two comments on 104 and 105, which we've done, and the culvert under Cherry Street, which he and Scott supported today. So let me go back through whatever we had from December. Mia had asked a question if there were no impacts to bordering land subject to flooding. The bordering land subject to flooding is at elevation 318.8 and 321.4. They're both contained within wetland or the pond area, and we have no wetland or work within a resource area on the site, so there's no work within a BOSF. Given some of the steeper slopes, me had requested that we go to a larger silt sock than 12-inch, so we've upgraded that to the 18-inch. Additionally, anywhere where we were within the 35-foot buffer, Mia wanted some additional setbacks shown from the wetland line, so we've added those to the plan. The operation and maintenance plan, Mia had requested that be expanded to show all the infiltrators and other items that would be inspected and the checklist. So we've expanded that and submitted that. I think Mia was happy with the changes on that. There were questions on, maintaining some of these underground infiltration systems. So we added numerous inspection ports and insulator rows, which are outlined on the detail sheet. So that is, if the plans are approved and with an order of conditions that goes with the covenant document, it'll be very clear for someone on there how they access this and how they clean it. I mean, they're going to have to hire someone that kind of, as we discussed on our first project tonight, as someone that's experienced in cleaning these systems would be desirable because they know how to use the jet vac and other things to clean these systems. But we did add numerous inspection ports and details on the sheets to aid in that regard. There was a question on a retaining wall, which is along the driveway to lot 3 between the existing.
Mia, can you put up a copy of the plan? Sorry, Brian.
Sure. No, I'm sorry. I'm
Get the reference point here.
Yeah. Mia, if you go to sheet, we can start at sheet.
Looking for a good one.
Sheet 2.
Okay.
Right. So if you can zoom into like 1A and yeah, right there, you see the dark black line over to your right.
Here.
There's the property line, and then right off it is the retaining wall. So that's the only retaining wall. So we've highlighted that. It was getting a little hidden before.
There it is.
We've spoken to the homeowners that are living in the house now. They have a dog, so there's already a chain link fence area in the back there. So we're proposing to connect the chain link fence into the retaining wall, so they maintain their dog run in the back, if you will. But so that's the one retaining wall on the project there. If you can go to sheet 3, please, Mia. If you can zoom up, yeah, in that bottom left-hand corner a little bit, I guess would be the best. So if you can pan down there. So you can see we show the two proposed 12-inch steel culverts under Cherry Street with head walls, which Fred and Scott said they like the head walls, whether we just use the historic stone head walls that are there now, or put in concrete ones. The stone ones are in decent shape. They've been there for, who knows, 50, 60 years. So, and these are just steel culverts. They don't have bells, but they we could rebuild the stone head walls around the ends of the unit. So, and then you can see the southwesterly infiltration system there, which is 104. Yep, you're right over it. So that's where we relocated some of the checkerboard pieces there, which are the Cultec units, the storm treatment units. So now they're all at the same elevation and providing the over greater than 2 feet of separation to groundwater. Along with the system to your north or up the road there's Mia. That's infiltration 105. Again, that was, if you looked at the old plan, you'd see that there was a reconfiguration of the puzzle pieces there, if you will, so that has, greater than 2.3 feet separation to estimated seasonal high groundwater. So, let's see.
Are these fieldstone retaining walls, are these existing?
Where are you? I'm sorry.
Here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there is a retaining wall in lot 4. That was a comment from Mr. Tonelli, the abutter. He was worried about runoff from lot 4. We submitted that plan back, I think, in January to his attorney, Marshall Gould and Mr. Tonelli. There's already a slope in the hill that comes down and flows towards that area, but we added a small retaining wall there, fieldstone wall, with a stone diversion trench, so that'll catch any of the side yard runoff. And they were happy with that. So I'm sorry, I forgot about that one small stone retaining wall there.
I think there's 3. There's one here, one
Oh,
here.
Oh, yes, because he tightened up the grading on that when we raised
one
it.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're just small stone retaining walls. Yeah.
They're like a foot. Do we have a detail for them?
They're no more than 2 feet because of the grade there.
Okay.
I thought he had some top and bottom wall shots on there. He might on another plan.
Here it is. It says fieldstone retaining wall on sheet C601.
He might have the detail on there.
Height 4 feet max, it
Oh,
says.
4 feet. Okay. Yeah, so it won't need to be. Oh yeah, there's the fieldstone. I got it. What else was on the checklist? Winter stabilization. We added seeding mixes on sheets. There's a lot of sheets in here.
All right.
We put a winter stabilization and permanent. It's on sheet C602. So we have the permanent and seasonal seeding mixtures on there. What else do we say? Respond to Mass DEP comments. Mass DEP had no comments.
And how tall is the reinforced retaining wall, this concrete modular? The one behind the existing house. I'm looking here. Provide fence wing.
Let's see, he's got a contour there of 342. And this is 340. That one looks like it runs from 2 to 4 feet. That's outside the buffer zone, but it looks like it's 2 to 4 feet. 2 feet on the low end, and let's see, existing there is 336, and maybe up to 4 feet on the end towards lot 3.
Okay. Also, I hope I'm not taking you off track. I found the detail for the erosion controls on C601, and it's still calling for the 12-inch.
Oh, did he not adjust that there?
Yeah, 12-inch quar log.
Ah! All right, well, that's a boo-boo.
That's a small change.
Yeah.
But it's what the contractor has in hand, so.
Yeah. Maybe he called it out in a note on one of the other plans, but I'll have that fixed. So I think we've addressed everything and anything that's been asked. So I'll turn it over to you guys for questions or comments or.
Our plan. This one.
Brian, one question I have is, the abutter who attended a few of our meetings.
Mr. Tonelli?
Yes. Have there been any conversations with him? How is he feeling about all this now? I know he had some concerns originally, and I think you might have addressed them with your redesign of some of the flows.
Yeah, his concern was the runoff from directly at lot 4 there. Mia, if you want to zoom down to that. Yeah. Yeah, if you can zoom.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. Hang on. Went too far.
The joy of Zoom meeting. Right. So you can see that there's a very large hillside that flows towards his land as it is. And, you know, some of that's going to remain. We're only clearing around the house. But they had concerns about the immediate side yard directing flow directly, you know, reconveying it down to that way. So we had added the small retaining wall and we put in a stone diversion trench, so it keeps everything flowing towards the front of the yard and down there. We had sent that to his attorney, Marshall Gould. We've since reached out to them and they said they were in good. So.
Questions from the commission or comments?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Diane.
How are you going to encourage all these people to keep these?
I'm having trouble hearing her.
I'm sorry, how are you going to have everybody coordinate or cooperate to clean out all these basins? You have a plan for them?
Oh, on cleaning the basins?
Yes.
Yes, that's written up in the covenant and easement document that they will be signing as owners. And then that would get recorded with an order of conditions. And as Mia mentioned, they'd probably just hand them, you know, a copy of the plan, or whoever, as a homeowners association, I guess, if you will, they'll, you know, more than likely all contract with one contractor that'll just maintain the system annually, kind of like we just presented on 333 Southwest Cutoff, that you'd hire one of these stormwater control companies that comes in and can do regular inspections or annual inspections, and they can jet or vac truck these things as needed to maintain them. So that document, as I mentioned, was prepared by the applicant's attorney and then reviewed by Fred, Mia, and then eventually, you know, ultimately town council reviewed it and had minor comments that were applied per his comments. So that document would just be awaiting signature and then it'd be recorded. So that'll be something that's attached to their deed is what I understand. So just like the order is attached, this document would be, you know, part of their deed. So it's something they can't cry that they didn't know about.
But can they back out of it? Or can they just refuse to pay or whatever? What happens then if there's the one or two people that say, no, sorry, not my business? Is there is there a backup for something like that? Is there a fine or a detriment sometime to those people that may in the future do something like that?
I believe Mia mentioned that the town is looking at fines for people that don't adhere to this. Is that correct, Mia?
That would be under a stormwater bylaw that isn't in effect yet. It's going to town meeting this year. So if you guys had come next year, you know, we could do that.
Okay.
I mean, I believe, Mark, maybe you can jump in, but I think they all have to sign this document prior to occupancy or something to that effect.
Good evening, folks. And I apologize for the lighting. I'm in a relatively dark room. It looks like I'm glowing right now on my screen.
I can't even see you.
Jaundice, a little jaundice. It's okay. We can work that out.
Jaundice.
I'm not as jaundiced as I look on the screen. Yeah, but basically what Brian said is correct. The declaration gets recorded. It will be, I would assume, either a condition of the order or a condition of the planning board approval. It gets recorded in the chain of title. The deed out for each of these lots will reference this declaration. The declaration has attached to it the operation and maintenance plan of the stormwater facilities that Brian just detailed. And the declaration has in it two provisions that I think address Ms. Gouldner's questions. One is there will be a homeowner association. This is not just an easement. This will be an entity that will be created. Each unit on the plan, each homeowner on the plan will be a member of this association. And the association will have a budget. The budget largely involves maintenance of the roadway and the stormwater structures, including whatever maintenance schedule and fee structure is required to operate these facilities. And the homeowner association has enforcement rights over each homeowner. So that's kind of the basics of the declaration itself. In addition, in the declaration, the town has rights of enforcement, not obligations of enforcement. So in a worst case scenario, if there's total failure on the part of a homeowner and on the part of the association to follow the letter of the declaration, the town can step in, and then the town has lien rights to recover costs under the declaration. So it's a formal document. It's in the chain of title. Each deed will be conveyed subject to this declaration, and the operation and maintenance plan that Brian discussed will be part of that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, any
So-
more? Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Tom. Who's that, Tom?
My comment was going to be, I think that we've accomplished everything that, we set out to, and I think we're at the end point here on this.
Yep.
Did they need planning board approval? Did they get it?
Well, planning board has asked that we get approval from you guys first. And we have been continued to next Tuesday with planning board. But their comment was, let's see what Fred comes up with on the culvert under Cherry Street and addressing the infiltration questions. So we've addressed those. So we feel confident that, we've taken, if you will, killed two birds with one stone here, that we're working concurrently with both you guys and that we've addressed all the questions. Planning board also had deferred to, they wanted us to reach out to Scott and the fire chief to confirm on the water line, which we did agree to extend to the hydrant to Cherry Street. So those were the three main things. So.
Good, Todd?
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions or comments from the commission? Mia, one question I have is the culvert under Cherry Street. Do we want to include that? I mean, the project here is agreed to include it in their scope. Do we want to include that on this NOI or on the forthcoming NOI for the water work and the other culvert?
Either is fine. We had talked about conditioning the Church Street culvert replacement under the water line, putting a special condition in this order that the Church Street culvert will be replaced as part of the water line NOI. But this Cherry Street one, I don't think we have enough detail to allow the work to move forward. I did not expect that you guys would agree to it. So I appreciate you putting it in and working with Scott and Fred, but I don't think we have enough details like profiles, elevations, that kind of thing.
I think that's on one of the sheets.
I'm looking through and I mean, there's the overall elevation. That's the driveway. But I don't see any details related to the culvert replacement. The head walls, the pipe materials, dewatering, diversion. Usually, a culvert replacement's a project in itself. So we could also condition it to be included as part of the water line project.
Yeah, I think we were thinking it'd be part of this, but certainly, yeah, we could do it as part of the water line project because they're going to be digging down there to do the water line and the hydrant right at that intersection with Cherry Street anyway. So that's probably the best time to do it. When you have a machine down there digging the trench for the water line, they can do the culvert. They're going to be right next to it.
It would be a similar condition saying that the work that has to be done is
and we
part
can
of.
certainly get you additional detail prior to that, and it'd be included on that set. But yeah, that seems to make sense. While they're down there doing the water line and the hydrant, they're going to be, 10 or 15 feet from that. So.
Okay.
We'll make this one a little bit cleaner too. So, okay. No more questions. Let me see if there's any public comment. No. No public comment. No raising hands. Motion to close the hearing.
So
Make a
moved.
motion, we close the hearing.
Second.
Seconded by Todd. Tom made the motion. Roll call vote to close the hearing. Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
Yes.
Billy Marston,
Yes.
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. Mia, special conditions on the order.
So we append the O&M plan. That's easy. And then include then boilerplate for stormwater. I'm a little nervous about drafting conditions regarding the covenant and that the water line will be included in the NOI for Church Street and Cherry Street. I'd like to draft those and bring them back and make sure they're enforceable. Unless you want to help me write them now, because I mean, I can't just write the culvert under Cherry Street and Church Street as shown in the plan will be replaced under the water line that, the notice of intent or the order of conditions for the installation of a water main or extension of the water main along Church Street. Because then what if worst case scenario, that never happens,
If that doesn't happen, then this project's not going to happen either.
Yeah, we had the same thing in Paxton. They were supposed to put in a water line. The developer, the price of iron went up and he just sunk wells. And now the town's in litigation. I hope you guys won't do that. I hope they'll actually build the water main. But he just said he wasn't going to spend any more money. And the people are living in the houses and they're drinking out of the wells.
Yeah, as part of the condition of approval was to extend the water line via planning board and you guys. So I don't see.
I don't think you can get a building permit if they don't do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think you're exactly right, Todd. So.
Okay. So just that. Let me try to write it.
Could you put in the order that the order does not include the culvert under Cherry Street or West Street? And that's it. And it has to be addressed in the new filing. You guys will know if we didn't put it in there. So it's just, they just aren't part of this order. That's all there is to it. They can only do work up to the water line. Up to the common drive, and then the two culverts just aren't part of this order, period.
Okay, so, well,
Because as Greg pointed out, when we do the water line, we can't get that permit without proposing to do the two other culverts, and they've already committed to doing the one under West Street. So you just add the Cherry Street one. I mean, you guys won't issue an order unless those two are in there for the next filing. Does that make sense?
I would like to put a condition in this one, referencing that, just because, you never know what happens. The market could crash,
Yeah.
COVID spikes again, we all go back in our homes. The site goes dormant for 10 years. We got a whole bunch of new commissioners. And then we're like, oh, we've had this plan approved. Let's just push it through again. You want to set this up so that everything's.
No, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So Church Street and Cherry Street culverts shall be replaced in an order of conditions for the water line extension in Church Street prior to what? Prior to the issuance of a certificate of compliance?
Building permit.
We can't link to building permits. Building
Why not?
permits can link to us.
Prior to
How about prior to ECB approval by you? I mean, you want some sort of early hook here, right?
Yeah, prior to
Well,
the start
no.
of work.
Well, the water line, I mean, they could start building the common drive prior to the water line, because the water line is going to take, that permit filing is going to take months. We don't want to hold that up. I
So
would
what's
say
the checkpoint?
prior to a certificate of compliance. If they haven't built it, you don't issue a certificate of compliance.
I'm wondering if we should explore options for something more.
I hate to delay the process here for that.
Right, because the water line is not part of this order or this project, because if
No,
we didn't.
but the culverts are.
Right.
I have a suggestion, if I may. I think it's appropriate to say that these improvements that we're talking about, which are kind of off-site improvements, are not part of this order, that they do require a separate notice of intent filing, and that the applicant, that the condition, one of the conditions of this order shall require the applicant to file a notice of intent for that work, and that work must be completed prior to a certificate of compliance being issued under this order. That gives us some flexibility on timing, and I think gives the town enough protection that that work is required before compliance is issued on the lots.
Okay, so I've got a notice of intent shall be filed for the replacement of the Church Street and Cherry Street culverts prior to the issuance of a COC. It's just people, they just don't care about COCs. Like it's our only,
Well, I think-
only checkpoint.
I think the condition is that work be completed for those improvements under a subsequent order of conditions before a certificate of compliance is issued
Okay.
under this order.
So a notice of intent shall be filed for the replacement of Church Street and Cherry Street culverts, and work shall be completed.
Hey, Mia, how about if Mark or Brian shoots you a paragraph on email about what they want in there? Because Mark pretty well laid it out, I think.
I'd be
And,
glad
I
to.
think it's fine, but you have to vote on it. You have to vote on the
At the end of
condition.
the day, they can't get a certificate of compliance unless the culverts are replaced, right?
Mhm.
Correct.
Isn't it that simple?
It is, but
Um,
the certificate of compliance is not, some
Yeah,
people
but
just
they're
don't
gonna-
care.
These are gonna be expensive houses. They're gonna be money. We're gonna see people going in. I mean, there's 5 of them. I understand what you're saying, but I think it'll be fine.
I have one more comment. And Tom, were you going to say something?
I was,
Go ahead.
yes.
Are you still
Um,
gonna?
Earth removal, when we go through that process, customers have to place a bond. If there's an issue, we could require a bond. Planning board could require a bond, but since they haven't been to planning, we could require a bond be placed to cover the culverts, and it has some merit when things don't get completed. You don't get your bond back.
I was going to suggest we send a memo to the planning board as an extra layer of protection to ask them for a bond and to condition the replacement of the culverts in their approval. And maybe even to add in, it's kind of redundant because they're probably going to do it, but to require them to, or request the planning board to require the declaration is attached to each parcel, which they probably will be, but you know.
Yeah, I think we are fine with that as a condition. The planning board, I think, is intent on requiring these offsite improvements as well, and there will be a performance bond imposed as part of the special permit. And the condition, requiring that each deed reference the recorded declaration is also appropriate.
So each deed reference.
And you're going to write down,
declaration.
are you taking notes, me, or do you want a paragraph sent to you? Your call.
I am. So what do you think about the memo to the planning board? It's just requesting each deed references the declaration and a bond, a performance bond to cover the culvert replacement as part of the special permit.
We're already requiring that the thing that is one of our conditions that the homeowners association document get recorded, right?
As part of the order.
That's
yeah.
it. We don't need to do anything more.
Okay. It's unsigned though. The declaration, doesn't each homeowner sign
No,
it as they
it's
buy
gonna
the
be-
houses?
It's probably going to be signed by the person, by the developer, and then recorded before the first deed out, and then it'll be binding on everybody who buys a lot.
Correct.
Let me find it. Oh, okay. I'm gonna note that. Yeah, that covers it. I thought it was gonna be an agreement with the homeowners. We have to wait for all of them to sign it. And record it on OOC. Okay,
Just heard a rumble of thunder.
so I've got that the O&M plan and the covenant will be appended. We'll call it the declaration, not the covenant. And then the Cherry Street and Church Street, or a notice of intent shall be filed for the replacement of the Church Street and Cherry Street culverts, and work shall be completed prior to the issuance of the certificate of compliance. Any other special conditions?
There'll be a no planning board memo.
It's up to you.
Well, you brought it up. I mean, it's,
I don't like to meddle with other boards and committees.
I think we
if we don't
covered,
have to.
we covered the concern here though, for that, so.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
And
And then
in
the
terms
only
of the
change-
verbiage, I mean, in terms of the verbiage, you're good with what you have. Do you need anything else?
I think so. I do need that core log changed to 18-inch on that one sheet.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Back to my notes. It's previous. Any permanent markers on the site?
For what?
Wetlands do not enter.
Oh. Oh, you mean like a sign and post?
Yeah, I mean, it's that beautiful wet meadow in the front and then the pond.
We have, I can send you an example of ones we've used in Westboro and some other towns that it's a nice signage that says, wetland area, no dumping or mowing or things like that. I mean, I can send that example to you if you want.
We have a green sign that just says wetland area, do not disturb, or something similar. It's like a sign on post, and it looks like it'll be in the woods. Can you guys see the plan?
Oh, down there, yeah, that's 120 feet from that wetland, so.
120 from the pond, right here? I'm
Yeah,
I'm
see
looking
that
at the
buffer zone, see the
35.
100-foot buffer zone there to lot 3?
Yeah,
The clearing is about 120 feet from the pond.
okay.
So the only area we're really close is that retaining wall up there, so that's a permanent marker. So I'd say some signage along the wet meadow would be.
Yep.
We are restoring, we're taking out the old driveway and then restoring that area, but that'll all be maintained as, restored area. So it's really the wet meadow, I'd say, put a signage at each wetland flag, or if you want it, 10 feet in front of each wetland flag. So you're in between the 25 and, or we can put it right at the 25 if you'd like, off each wetland flag.
How many flags are we talking there, Brian?
What's
One,
that?
How many
two,
flags are there?
3, 4.
There's only about 8 along that edge, 6 or 8.
Like a lot of signs. I was thinking like one per side, one in front, one in the Chevy Street parallel, and maybe one in back.
Oh, you want some on the Cherry Street side?
Actually, I should yield to our sign.
Well, that's not on our property, so we can't go on off our property and put a sign there, but
We're trying to minimize the number of signs there, that's all.
yeah, so why don't we do like 2 or 3 along the common drive between the wet meadow flagging and the no disturb zone? Do 2 or 3 signs there.
Right here.
Yeah, along that area from the entrance and then down towards where the other infiltrator is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Was it 2 or 3? Is that what you said?
Why don't we do 3? 1 at the entrance, 1 in the middle, and 1 at the end. Do you want to send me your typical sign, or do you want me to send you an example of the ones we've been using?
It's up to you. We have, let me show you. This is ours.
I'm fine with that if you guys are.
We sell them for $20. That's our
Oh,
cost.
forget it.
We sell them at cost.
Well,
Or I could send you the detail.
All right, that's fine.
We'll do 3 of those.
So it's at wetland flags like 115, 113, 112.
111 or 112, so it's near the edge there.
113 and 111. Okay. And signs on post. And you can do any sign you want. This is just the one we have if you want to buy them or make them similar.
Are they really $20 each?
Yeah, we paid $20 for each one, so we just sell them for cost.
All right, that's fine.
Because a lot of people only want to buy like one.
Yeah. No, I think that'll be nice. It'll look nice in that meadow off that edge. Be good.
Okay.
You got your special conditions, Mia?
I think so.
Okay. So then we need to move forward with an order for 8595 West Street.
So moved with the conditions that we just discussed.
Second.
Seconded by Tom. We need to close the hearing first, right?
I think we already did.
We did.
Yep.
So many hearings being opened and closed. Okay, fine. Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Goldner,
Yes.
Kelly Marston,
Yes.
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank
Right.
you.
Thanks for
All right.
working with us, Brian. Thank you.
All right, yeah, I'll get you that, the core login. I'll mark on there the 3 signs, so.
Okay. Can I use the ladies' room?
For
sure.
20 bucks.
20 bucks. I'll be right back.
Hey, guys.
Anybody else wants to take a nature break? Now it's not a bad time.
This is like marathon coming.
It gets to be a
Gotta buy some
marathon
ice
when it
cream,
goes to
Kelly.
midnight.
I've been eating all of my husband's candy. I just realized his desk is stashed with candy.
That's a good find.
Right? I found the secret drawer of candy.
They could replace that with like Nutrin bars, nature bars, and see how that reads. See how he finds those.
Some celery
Put it on
sticks
your
in there.
candy. So Diane remembers when we first started, when I first started on the board, we did 2 meetings a month, and sometimes they would go to 11 o'clock at night.
Yes.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yes, apparently. I don't remember a lot of that. One was, how far back was that? 10 years ago? Something like that.
No, it was probably longer than that.
Oh, really?
And that was in Douglas, we did 2 a month. But Westboro, we just do 1.
We've done 2 a month here, maybe since my time, maybe 2 times on special
You.
occasions.
I've been at Natick Planning Board till 2 in the morning.
Wow,
That's for the worst. Then they actually started, the planning board used to run so late there that then they started to close the build. They just say we have to close the building at 12, so the meeting has to end at 12. So it was brutal.
Yeah. Wow.
Couldn't go on until like 11:30 sometimes. So it was rough.
I feel like at some point that goes against the open meeting law, because really, who is up at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah. That might have been part of it with closing the town hall at 12 too, that they just
Yeah.
couldn't. Yeah.
Diane, you with us still?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
I'm here.
Everybody's back. We're good to move on. 0 Hudson Street, Mia.
Yes.
And this, I believe, is going to be Scott Goddard or Maureen and Maureen Harold. Thank you, Jim.
Hi,
Hello, Maureen. Welcome.
good evening. Thank you. My name's Maureen Harold. I'm a professional wetland scientist. I'm with Norse Environmental Services here on behalf of the client, and I will bring in the plan.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, sure.
Scott, you're muted. You're gonna stay muted? You can answer me, otherwise.
Yeah.
you do.
So, yeah, no, this is Scott. So, yeah, I'm in this case, I'm the applicant on this project. So in order to, I just felt it was a bit more professional in this particular case to have a third-party professional be the wetland scientist on this project. So I've asked Norse to represent this case. So the opinions that are being presented on Maureen's behalf are hers and her own.
Okay, good, thank you. So let me set this up a little bit, Mia. My understanding here is that we do not have a DEP number yet. Is that true?
That's right.
There's been no DEP review. And you have not confirmed wetland flagging, correct?
That's right. Maureen and I talked earlier today. I did go out to confirm the wetland line, but a bunch of the flags were missing and misnumbered. So she and I are going to try to make a plan to go out together this month.
Okay. All right. And we also may have a difference of opinion here of some DEP items here. So, okay. Maureen, you're on.
Okay, great. So my intent tonight is just to introduce the project. Obviously, there's some outstanding items, and I know you've had a power-packed evening. Okay, so here we go. So we are proposing 2 duplex buildings. We have a number of resource areas located on the property. Colored in green is the bordering vegetated wetland. We have a perennial stream, the Assabet River. The bank itself, the mean annual high water, has been flagged in the field. We have the 100-foot offset, or the inner riparian. We have the 200-foot offset, or the 200-foot riverfront area. The Assabet River also has an associated 100-year floodplain or bordering land subject to flooding. And it's highlighted in this color here as we come around. So we're proposing the 2 duplex buildings, driveways, retaining walls, wetland alteration of 520 square feet at discretionary fill. We're proposing wetland replication over 1,000 square feet, 1,040 square feet here. Grading, associated utilities. The site will be serviced by sewer and water. existing conditions. The existing conditions, we have an existing compact gravel parking area located here. This is located within the 200-foot riverfront area. We also have a sewer easement traversing the property as well. We have an existing 12-inch corrugated metal pipe that's just charging from a catch basin from the street. Go back to the plan. So as the commission was discussing the riverfront issues, I have the same professional opinion as Scott regarding this, that the regulations imply that because the riverfront area contains areas that are degraded, which is the existing compact gravel parking area, prior to 96, the entire on-site riverfront area is to be considered previously developed. So as part of this, we have to improve the overall site conditions. I'm gonna go back to the previous plan. The area that's in hatch here is dominated by a monoculture of Japanese knotweed. So our intent is to improve the overall riverfront area by incorporating erosion controls all through here to cut and remove the knotweed, as well as the topsoil area, and also do some herbicide applications because it's just necessary with that aggressive invasive. And we've provided an extensive planting plan for this area as well. And we would monitor it for 2 years. So I think overall, we're making a valid effort to improve the riverfront area, to improve the function of the riverfront area, to get some natural native species back into this area as well. We're also proposing to fill some floodplain area. So as I mentioned before, this is the floodplain area. We're providing compensatory storage in this location, as well as this location over here. We're proposing to alter 7552 cubic feet, and we're providing compensatory storage in 9131 cubic feet. Also, as part of this filing, we are requesting a waiver from the 25-foot no disturb and the 35-foot no build, which you can see on lot 2. Essentially, the entire duplex is located within this area. Lot 1, we do not need the waivers for that. And I think I've covered the initial presentation. I can open it up to the commission if you have any questions or concerns.
So on lot 2, almost the entire structure is inside the 25.
That's correct. So let me zoom in. So here's the 25 foot. So it almost goes, you're correct, more than halfway. The entire structure is within it.
Why would we approve that?
Well,
why would we approve that inside a no build zone, no touch zone?
Well, we did provide an alternative analysis for this with the structure located over here in this location, which would essentially be outside of your 25 foot and your 35 foot. It's something that we think that we can build. However, it really has more impact to the riverfront area than the structure being proposed closer to the street. You'd have to extend the driveways down. You would have to perform more clearing. So that was one alternative that we did look at to comply with your regulations.
What about there just being one building and not two?
Well, presently, this is actually 3 lots at the moment. So one of the alternatives that was considered was doing 3 single-family dwellings. We thought with this type of development, it's actually less disturbance than the 3 single-family dwellings.
There are 3 lots, but it doesn't look like there are 3 buildable lots with the setbacks. Are they? Wait, maybe I'm wrong. I can't see all of it. I could be wrong.
So what you're looking at, it shows only 2 lots right here. So you're correct about that, but there's actually, it's a combination of 3 lots. So what we'd like to do is take the 3 lots and compress them to 2 and develop 2 duplex buildings.
Do you get the feeling things aren't going your way? I mean, we usually grant waivers from that to allow, pre-existing houses where they need to replace septic systems, and they're not able to do that without a waiver. But you want to build an entire building that's not something I think I could support, speaking for myself.
I'm with Todd. No way. I would support that.
I mean, part of the building is actually in the wetland.
Correct. So on lot 2, where the area is hatched, we're proposing to alter 520 square feet of wetland. And we're providing more than 2 to 1 for the 1040 square feet of replication area. I mean, I can certainly provide the alternative plan. Unfortunately, I don't have it with me this evening to show you that the alternative of complying with your setbacks and putting the building down here actually is more impact to the riverfront area than having the structure in this location.
I have the alternative plan if you want me to share it.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I think you have to stop share so I can share.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
So, right, so this is where the structure is that complies with your setbacks. It's a lot more impervious area than what we're proposing. Obviously, there's additional, substantial additional grading along Hudson Street, parallel to Hudson Street. And personally, I think this is just a lousy design. That's just my opinion. I think it would look nicer closer to the street. In the area with the Japanese knotweed, I think we're doing substantial improvements to the riverfront area by removing that, trying to control and manage it, providing an extensive planting plan to just improve the overall wetland habitat riverfront area. And I understand it's late at night and it's a lot of information that, and it's a complex project that I'm throwing at the commission, so.
Well, you did say you were trying to introduce it tonight, right?
Right, I mean, this certainly isn't, I'm requesting the commission to close and issue a decision. Absolutely not. I just wanted to get your initial eyes on the project, get some initial feedback. Obviously, need to review the wetland boundary. We need comments from DEP. We have a difference of opinions regarding the riverfront. So there's a lot of outstanding issues.
Yeah, so if the wetland delineation is completed, you may not even be able to build the one that you're showing right now.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
If I understand correctly, you've not completed the entire wetland delineation. And if you do complete the wetland delineation, you might develop information that would make the plan that I'm now looking at impossible.
The wetland delineation is completed. It was, when Mia went out, some of the flags were missing. There was some areas that she had some questions on. So we just need to review it.
Sounds incomplete to me.
Well, again, I'm just asking for the commission's initial look and eyes on this. In terms of dotting the i's and crossing the t's, that can be done before the next meeting.
All right. Well, I think you've heard, you've got an early temperature read of what some of the commissioners feel here on that.
I guess my first cut on this is the alternative, at least as the plans are shown and the wetland flags are located, meets our bylaw without filling wetlands or restoring wetlands. So my first cut on this is that the alternate is probably better than the first. And I understand the reasoning behind leaving it on Hudson Street, but I don't see why we would do a waiver when there's an alternative that meets the bylaw.
Well, perhaps for the next meeting, what I can do is I can kind of provide a comprehensive chart of the disturbance, the additional impervious area, so that
right,
other than just looking at this plan, I can provide some comprehensive numbers as to impact and go forward with that.
Can I bring a few things up that I'd like to bring to the commission's attention is that, the Riverfront Act, the Riverfront regulations say that with the lots approved prior to 1996, they can disturb up to 5,000 square feet of riverfront area for the construction of a single family house. So they have that. They have 3 lots, 3 single family houses up to 5,000 square feet. I did check with DEP and with, I haven't checked with town council, but I have checked with just a town planner and the town engineer. So this has gone from 3 to 2. So once it goes from 3 to 2, it loses, in my opinion, and the initial opinions we've gotten, it loses that 1996. And there's just nothing. You don't have to allow it. If we do look at the 3, we've got 3 lots. We've talked about redevelopment versus new development. New development is that 5,000 square feet. This site does have a degraded area. It has a gravel drive up here in the northern corner. So at best, I'm still arguing, I still stick with my initial argument that just because part of the site is degraded doesn't trigger redevelopment for the whole site. I think that, but even if, Ms. Harold was correct and her regulatory opinion was upheld, that redevelopment standard would only apply for that lot. These are 3 distinct lots. So we would still be under new development. So I just don't see how a duplex on a lot after 1996 within riverfront area is even possible under the current regulations. I would like to recommend that we wait for DEP's review, just because we have 2 very differing opinions. So we'll just see where DEP comes in.
Yeah, this isn't one that's gonna be one and done.
The DEP review we're waiting for, and also the confirmation of the wetland flags. So those can happen certainly in the interim here.
Yeah, I think definitely some clarification on that specific point to me. I mean, you've got lot 1 and lot 2. Clearly lot 1 has, that gravel parking area. So it is degraded. I guess I don't see the same thing on lot 2. So I guess I don't understand just because it's one application in front of us, how can that apply to both lots? It's the same. I guess I don't understand that.
My opinion is that it encompasses the entire riverfront area. So that's
So
my.
any lot along Hudson Street?
No, specifically to these lots, that it encompasses the entire riverfront area. That's just my opinion. Obviously, we have a difference of opinion. And I think between hopefully now and the next meeting, we can have some clarity on that, so.
I also think that mitigation credit is being taken for the removal of the invasive species. And I'd like the commission to discuss mitigation under riverfront standards is supposed to be removal of impervious surface. And removal of invasive species is important, but it's not degraded. It's just poor quality. But it's in removal of invasive species should always be conducted, and it should not be counted as mitigation and credit towards development.
Again, I have a difference of opinion on that. That's been counted before in other projects I've done in the past. In addition to that mitigation, we're also, the pipe that's discharging from the catch basin on Hudson Street, there is some erosion in there. We're going to cut that back and we're going to rip wrap that area so that that erosion doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't erode down towards the wetland area. That's additional mitigation that we're providing as well. But again, perhaps DEP and the DEP reviewer can clarify what her opinion is. Have a meeting of the minds.
Yep.
I guess I just have one question too, just in regards to Japanese knotweed removal. Looks like if we'd remove it from this area, is it your professional opinion that you just remove that once and that's it, and it never comes back? Or, is this something that needs to be treated for 5 years? I mean, I've seen knotweed seems to be one of those species that just because we go and remove it at this one point, I mean, a couple of years from now, it's all going to be right back in here, isn't it?
Right. So unfortunately, Japanese knotweed is just a nasty plant. And we're proposing to remove it. In fact, I submitted a invasive species management plan with the package. So essentially, we're going to cut it, we're going to remove it, we're going to remove the topsoil, and we're going to apply herbicides to it. It'll be a licensed site professional, not licensed herbicide applicator that would be doing the spraying of this plant. And we're proposing to do it for 2 years. So by no means or no stretch of the imagination am I saying I'm going to remove it from the site. What I'd like to do is to make the site better, to treat it, to do the herbicide application, and also to plant it with native vegetation so that it hopefully outcompetes some of the knotweed. And that's been provided in your packet as well.
Very good. So I think we need to entertain a motion to continue.
I think that's a good idea.
So moved.
Second.
Motion
Tom
to
and Kelly?
Motion to continue. Todd
Which-
Helwig.
Yes.
What's the next meeting? Is it May?
May
10th.
10.
May
May
10th.
10.
Okay. Well, I
right.
appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks, Maureen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly Marston,
Yes.
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beal,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Do I get to vote?
Did we miss you, Diane?
You did.
You can either vote or read your documents in one meeting. You can't do both.
I
you can vote.
choose voting.
Diane Goldner.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
think we are good. All right. All right.
I have to bounce out to pick Hannah up from dance. So you're gonna see me as two people again because I'm calling in over the phone.
Okay.
Well, we're all, I think we're toward the end here anyway, Kelly. So
Are we towards the end?
I
Okay.
think we are. Yeah.
All right. So then I'm gonna sign off.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, Kelly.
Right.
All right, Mia, that's the agenda in terms of the public hearings. You want to cover a couple things here? We got some time. It's not quite 9, so
Yeah,
we can
try to
wrap
go
up, I
quick.
think, most of this here.
Okay.
How about the beaver? How about the crazy beavers on Church Street?
I issued an emergency certification for the trapping of beavers and removal of impoundment. DPW's trapping and Central Mass Mosquito broke the impoundment yesterday and today, right before the storm, which is good because it looks awful out there. And it's just a 30-day emergency certification that I'm seeking ratification. I initially thought we might have to go for more than 30, but it looks like they're just about done.
You want us to vote
And-
that?
Yes, to ratify the emergency certification.
Need to
So I
ratify-
make a motion to ratify the emergency for,
Certification.
Yeah, on Church Street.
Preserve Church Street.
Second.
Seconded by Diane.
Before we vote, Greg, can I
Yes,
just,
sir.
this is a particular interest of mine. I've spent
Okay.
a lot of my career managing beaver. So I was just curious, the process at the town. So someone approaches you, Mia. I thought it was with the Board of Health was the emergency.
There's two.
Okay.
So the reason it's our problem is because we own this land.
I see.
Yep, this is our land. The impoundments are on our land. And it's causing flooding that was approaching the leach fields. It was like within feet of the leach fields. They'd already made plans with septic providers to pump the tanks in case the leach fields became compromised. There was fish in their backyard. Along at 315 and 299 Church Street. So I observed these conditions, issued the emergency certification, and then I applied for the Conservation Commission to the Board of Health because you're the landowners. And we got a 10-day trapping permit, which I've now applied to extend because today's the 10th day. So
We had to trap there for like 6 months before.
2008, yeah.
And
it's been
those
good
houses were
since
flooded
2008.
back. It was brutal.
It
Yeah.
was the same property, same issue.
And we did buy $257 in supplies out of the, it's the budget, so you don't have to vote on it. It's our land management budget. So we bought some beaver trapping supplies.
Okay.
Good, Dan?
Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've talked about beaver, I guess, so.
He's caught one so far on Monday or Tuesday. He's getting 2 more traps out there, hopefully tomorrow. And then the impoundment was broken Wednesday and today, and they broke it. There's one upstream, one downstream. The downstream one was broken and like buried. The upstream one, they broke a little bit because there was more water behind it. They wanted it to go slow. When they returned today, the beavers had rebuilt. So they just crushed the whole thing. Nicely tucked it away. They do a nice job. And Central Mass Mosquito doesn't charge us. This is part of our membership with Central Mass Mosquito Control.
Right. We probably need to do a better job at checking that more regularly.
Well, it's right on trails. There's a boardwalk behind 315 Church Street. That's where the first impoundment was. And the Trails Committee had been out there, I think 6 weeks ago, and replaced boards on that boardwalk, and there was no beaver activity observed. We have pictures that they shared. I don't have them in the file, but they did share at the meeting. And then now, we've got this big, huge impoundment. So it's very recent. And we're getting calls from all over town that the beavers are out building away. And there's a flow control device over there that has some rusty parts. So Central Mass Mosquito is repairing it.
Who's doing the trapping? We hire?
There's a guy on DPW that does it. If they have time. So it's town-owned equipment. We buy the equipment and he does it on DPW time.
Is he using live traps or body gripping traps?
What's have a heart? I think they're have a hearts.
The live traps, yeah.
Okay. I think. Actually, I could look at the invoice and see what he bought.
And you say body ripping traps?
Body gripping, it's a kill
Gripping.
trap. So
Oh,
you
yeah,
can,
okay.
They do die. They're definitely,
well, yeah, the live trap, you have to kill it. But the body gripping trap, the trap kills it for you. But they're restricted. You got to get special permission to use it. I was just curious. Thank you.
okay. I can't find the invoice. I think it's have a heart traps.
Okay, we're gonna vote this, right?
Yep, we have a motion from Tom and seconded by Diane.
Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane Gouldner,
yes,
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Did you find what you're looking for, me, or is it not readily?
I can look in the, let me get my email. Found it. It says, I can't read it. Trapper bag with pouch, heavy duty trap setter, adjustable deep water stabilizer. It's a body grip trap,
Yeah, he's using
Yeah.
Coniverse. That's what I thought. Yeah.
best body grip stabilizer.
Those are allowed for emergency trapping.
Okay.
If you were doing some sort of animal control process, you would not use those. You'd use the non-emergency situation.
Well, during the trapping season, you're required to use live traps. The other ones are restricted to use emergency situations.
Okay. It definitely is an emergency. It's a septic emergency, not like a life emergency.
Yeah, I remember when that flooded back in 2008. There was the water was up in the driveways. Those houses are right down they go way down off the church.
Yeah, it's in their driveways.
Mount Pisgah parking lot expansion on Smith Road.
So the Trails Committee at their last meeting, if any of you have been up there on the weekend, there's 15 to 20 cars on the street all the time, all weekend long. So they looked at the map. There's plenty of room, and it's upland, and it's owned by conservation. It's a scenic road with a nice stone wall along. So they were thinking like Boundary Street, if you're familiar with the Boundary Street parking area. It goes in and then wings out behind a row of trees. They would like to move forward. They've asked Fred to design it. Fred is willing to design it as long as he has permission from you guys. I did contact Scott Charpentier to see, like, for a cost estimate about how much. I called him probably Monday or Tuesday and said, hey, how much do you think this would cost? And he said, oh, Robo and I are already going out. So I think other parts of Town Hall have actually asked them to start looking at this. It's serendipitous that we both came to it. But this request is coming from the Trails Committee. They would like to apply for CPA funding in the fall.
So before we
FYI first.
damage more of the resource area with parking, why don't we control the damage that's already occurring? Like where is the patrol vehicle that we talked about many, many months ago?
I was told not to order it.
Ah,
Yep. If you'd like to order it, you have to go above
I'm not
me.
a big fan of the parking area then.
Well, that's not me and the Trails Committee. It's two different entities.
I will
Yep.
just say, my comment too is building a bigger parking area may not solve your problem. It just attracts more cars. And you might find you're back in the same boat with even more cars.
Okay.
So just a word of caution. Sometimes smaller parking lots in a sense are better because you limit the number of cars that can physically fit there. So
Yeah, the use there has been extremely high in the last year, along with the damage. So I'm not overly enthused about encouraging more people to go there.
at least not without commensurate controls on the hill itself.
So I've taken the ATV as far as I can take it.
I believe you.
I guess Mia too. Is it that bad if people are parking along the edge of the road there
Yeah.
too? I mean, it's not that busy of a road, is it?
No, and there's been 15 cars parked up the side, plus the parking lot full. You know, so there's a good 20 or 25 cars there. You know, so I at that point, you're oversaturating, you know, the property really. And in the last year, it's really been overused, along with, you know, I guess the tree cutting still going on, and the trails or illegal trails are still going on. I haven't even been there this year, so.
They're still going on. Somebody named one.
Oh, nice. They put signs up?
That damn pond that they keep building. We're all going to get triple E from it.
Is this,
I just wonder too. I mean, I feel like before building more parking, you know, maybe we let COVID run its course a little bit more and see if really there's that many people that continue to park there. You know, it kind of reminds me of my work where, you know, might be doing a parking lot at a mall and you get somebody asking you to design it for the holiday season, but that doesn't happen all year round either. So kind of seems like maybe something to just wait on a little bit, just see if it normalizes a little more. I don't know, just a thought.
I want to show you guys something.
So Peter, is this, I mean, there's some concern in the commission about doing this, but is this kind of got its own mind to it already?
No, you can decide or not. It's your land. I just wanted to show you this sign. This is on private property. Someone named it, built a sign, and even claims Mr.
Waters Trail,
Bombadillo.
parking by Bombadillo.
Bombadillo. If you know Mr. Bombadillo, tell him that his little pond is going to cause triple E. So
did you ever put up the cameras?
they did. And I have to go back and grab the, I got them up 2 weeks ago. And I think it's time to go out. I'm trying to get out again with a little step ladder. I've been out twice to check that they're still there, and they are. And they were still flashing red. So still taking photos. So I'm going to go out with just SD cards and batteries and change the SD cards and batteries and leave them up. See what we find.
For me, back to the proposed expansion, should we say that, are you looking for us to say you want a formal position from the Conservation
No,
Commission?
if you want to move forward or not. And I think, you know, if you want to say no, if you want to say wait till COVID's over and reevaluate, it's really up to you guys.
Why don't we
Enthusiasm.
at least have Scott and Robo, you know, look at it and figure out what the costs are and what we're talking about for an area. We can always flag it out to look at. I'm not overly enthused about doing it, but I'm only
Why
one
waste the
person.
time then? I mean, because I'm not, I could live with the wait till the pandemic's over and reevaluate it. I could live with that option. Otherwise, it's no for me. And then otherwise, if the majority is starting to feel that way, then I wouldn't waste their time with coming up with those numbers.
I say we wait. I mean, we've experienced the same thing at our state facilities, just overrun with cars, and we're hoping it's going to calm down at some point too. So.
Okay.
Does anyone remember what it was like pre-pandemic? Was it this bad?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
There were some days when it would be like that, but it's been substantially higher in the last year.
Okay.
So what are you going to take back, Mia?
Wait, well, it has to be your message. Do you guys want to wait till COVID's over and see if the need is still there?
Like, that's what it seems like momentum says, yeah.
Now, when we say COVID to end, should we wait like the governor ends the state of emergency, 6 months, a year?
You'll know it when we see it.
I'm just a little teeny concerned because the town administrator is like thinking about putting this, like, this is what I was told, that he wants to put it on the capital, but that would be further out, like years and years out.
Somebody vetoed a vehicle that we voted for money that we have, and I'm not sure that that's actually possible. So
It's not dead yet. You could still get it. You just, I can't get it for you.
okay.
And is the state doing anything? They have any sort of marker in terms of when you revisit some of the bubble?
Yeah, I mean, right now, the state, all of our public facilities aren't even open yet. So we're way, we haven't even reached that point where our visitor center's still closed. All our public bathrooms are closed.
Yep.
So until that changes, I wouldn't consider us anywhere near back to normal, I guess.
Okay, so let's just say wait for COVID to end and reevaluate. Does that sound good? Is that the consensus?
Fine with me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds good.
See, it's still a need.
Okay.
Can take some of that money and put in a couple sidewalks around town or something.
Hmm.
I wonder if can we use CPA funding for sidewalk?
I don't know.
Maybe if it connects to conservation areas or
That
something.
would be nice.
Yeah.
A sidewalk between a couple conservation areas. That's
Justin, try to stay in the lane here, okay?
Hey, sorry.
Informal discussion, Howard Street, 435, that's May 10th, right?
He's coming back May 10th. Yep.
Increased setback requirements for slopes greater than 3 to 1.
Do you want to take this up now? It's kind of technical. We can push it off till next month if you want.
Unless the group does.
Same thing with the special conditions spreadsheet. I sent you guys that. It's a huge Excel spreadsheet with all these different tabs. If you have any comments, you don't have to vote on them. You can just email me and then we can talk about the changes and then we can bring it to a meeting and say, hey, this is a suggested change. We don't have to go through it point by point.
All right. So for the May meeting, we have 5 Kimball Lane.
Mhm.
And we have 57 Fisher,
Yeah.
333 Southwest Cutoff, 161 Church Street.
Mhm.
That's just rollovers with anything else new that comes in.
And 0 Hudson Street.
0 Hudson Street, yes. Yes. Is there anything else that you know is coming in?
No, but we're getting calls every day.
Building time.
Decks and pools and puppy dog tails.
Sheds and all that
everything.
good stuff.
Let me know if you see anything. I do follow up on everything you report. And some of you already know how to do this. You can call my office, ask for me. I know most of your voices. You can just say, this is an anonymous caller. I'd like to report. Don't say your next door neighbor. Just give me the address. I've gotten these calls from you guys. You don't even have to say like, this isn't Greg. You can just say like, this is an anonymous call. If you want to report.
It does that all the time.
Todd has no problem being like, this is Todd Hoeg. I'm reporting this guy and that's public record. And then, it's okay. Todd got a nice sign out of it, right? Neighbor put up a sign just for him.
Anybody else have anything going on? No?
There will be violations coming up that I just issued the letters for John Edward Drive. So they're on the agenda for next month for dumping in a wetland. And it's yard waste. I put out a neighborhood-wide letter in November asking them to remove, like everybody on that side of the street to remove the yard waste. Then I tried to re-inspect in December, but I got COVID. So I went back again in March and 2 of them had not removed it. So they're going to come in.
Anybody not going to be here in May that you know about now?
Be here.
No college tours, no fun in the sun, none of that stuff. Okay. Then we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
By Diane. Todd Helwig,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Dan Clark,
Yes.
Justin Dufresne,
Yes.
Tom Beals,
Yes.
and I vote yes.